pleasure. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting, exhilarating episode of the You Thrive Everyday show. I am your host, April Bassetti, America's favorite life coach. Okay. And so today we have a very special guest. She is an ordained minister, people. Okay. And she is an advocate and motivational speaker for the Black community. She has so many messages to communicate and deliver to us. And so today we are honored, okay, to have Sukari on our show. So Sukari, please introduce yourself. Let us know what title it is that you like to be called, and then where it is that you're from, born and raised.
Right on. My name is Sukari Appling, and I just call me Suki or Sukari. I don't go by any titles. And I'm from San Diego, California, born and raised, and I moved around. I lived in Arizona for a while, lived in LA for a while. There's no place like home. Yeah.
Exactly.
And go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I do advocate, and I do speak on behalf of the Black community, brown community, yellow community, and red community, and white community sometimes, because I mix with all 7 different nationalities. So I speak up when it needs to be spoken up on. You know what I mean?
So she's an advocate for the human race.
Yes, ma'am.
But today is a very special video because we are actually going to be talking about the 13th Amendment, and she has a call to action that we're trying to push. We're trying to push this message that she has to share with us later on. We're going to get into detail about that. But first of all, I am going to do something that I rarely ever do, which is give you guys a little brief, quick excerpt of this girl and her beautiful, colorful, that's my new word, colorful personality. So I have known Miss Suki, and your name is in my phone under Suki, honey. That's what we call her, Suki. So I have known her since I have been like 13 years old, okay? I was a freshman, she was a sophomore, and Sukari has always been a very social creature. She is a Leo, which means that she is here to be in the light, okay? And she knows that, honey. Okay? So, I mean, baby girl has done everything from rapping to performing to she's been a comedian. Like I said, she's also a motivational speaker. And recently, to our dismay, just last year at the age of 37, Sukari suffered a stroke. So later on, we're going to get into details about that and how it's affecting her life right now, okay? So that is a brief introduction, okay, from America's favorite life coach. So now we're going to turn it back over to Suki. And so, Suki, I want you to give me a little bit of your background. So were you raised by both parents in the household? Were you raised by one parent, a grandparent? Who raised you?
Oh, the whole hood raised me. Takes a village. But my mom and pop both were in my life very actively. They stayed together. They had split up for a while, and then they got back together. And my mom, she's Filipino, Chinese and white. She's a hippie, a real peace person and a community revolutionary. And my dad is the same. He's not a hippie, but he's a revolutionary. He's a Black Panther, and he was out there for the people too. And he committed to just helping out as much as he could in the community. He brought the drum and dance. Our crew, he met up with the Africans when they first started coming to America and hanging out with us. My dad connected with an African dude named Ibu. He taught him how to African drum, and then we had a sister come and teach us how to African dance, and that was like one of our things that we loved doing when we were kids, and we're bringing that back too. You know? And we're making a video for that. And it's just they're both really, really spiritual, open, very intelligent folks. Then my pop's been in jail. He's had 4 strikes. My mama had 2. She had 2 strikes, and Daddy had 4 strikes, and both of them were on my ass. Like, don't be the reason we go to jail with a 3rd strike or a 5th strike. So I always had to be on my toes to try to stay legal and legit with my lifestyle, because I couldn't do anything to jeopardize my parents' freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because that 3 strikes you're out is serious. They'll take him for life. You know. And yeah, I got my butt whooped hella bad. And you know what I mean? I deserved it. And it kept me from being pregnant and fast and all kinds of stuff I probably would have been if I wasn't getting that fear of God beaten to me. Hey, all the times the friends are getting into stuff, I'm like, I'll get my ass beat. Sorry, I can't do that. You know what I mean? And it's real. So that's my background with them. They just told me I had something to do when I grew up. So that's my live for them. You know what I mean? My company, when I started it off, I called it Applingism, because it's all it is at the Applin family that gave to me. You know what I mean? I just share it with everybody else. Pops was um, not religious. We grew up Catholic, Christian, Muslim, Rastafarian, spiritual. Like my dad was like all around. He wasn't. He said you don't choose up on a gang. He said the religions are gangs. He's like there's all these different sections of, but the master is the God. He said so if you just read up on. He said them that read lead, and them that don't, they depend on somebody that did read to teach you. And then you have to trust that somebody to teach you the right thing. You know, so it's best that you read yourself. And then you'll find that all religions have like the same story. And at the end, they get to this persuasive essay part where now it's like, now let me tell you why you should be the what you would call it, because the what you call it's aren't going to hell like the other what you call us. So yeah, they raised me to be proud of who I am. At the same time, we grew up in a time where Black people were starting to date different races. You know what I mean? Because everybody was like brand new to revolution in the 70s and 60s. That's when they started meshing and saying, oh, y'all got the same shit we got. You know, we got the same problem. Can I cuss? I don't want to be cussing. Sometimes
No,
you
you're
just feel
fine. Girl,
okay.
speak. These are raw interviews.
That's why I
Make
said I'm
yourself
coming
at
on.
home.
Okay. Yeah, but basically, yeah, it's just like it just be proud of who you are, even though back then my mom's and pops, my dad's pro-Black. You know what I mean? Black power to the people. My mom's a hippie. She's pro-human. You know what I mean? So it was like, it's just we used to get looks when I was a kid, because like, oh yeah, brother man with the dreadlocks, you gonna get out the car with this Filipino chick? Oh yeah, you pro-Black with a white looking chick or a Mexican looking broad? My mom was like, I'm not Mexican, I'm Filipino. And your dad doesn't mind, and she never says the N-word. My mom's not one of them wannabe Black people. She is just her, and she was. And yeah, it was just awkward how we kind of grew up pro-Black, but then at the same time we had to know different stuff about all these different cultures that we had. Like I had to learn about being Filipino, Black, Filipino, Mexican, Indian, Chinese, Creole, and white. I had to learn about being all that and be proud to be all that. And it just hit me in the 30s. In my 30s, I just barely learned to be proud of what I am and accept what I am, because shit, it's hard because everybody down talks to you, and then you get around. You know what I mean? When you're mixed, you don't really get included in anything fully because you're not anything full. You know what I mean? So with Black people, I was never Black enough because the hair. I'm darker than all my light skinned friends that talk to me like, well, you ain't Black, girl, you mixed. I'm like, I'm darker than you. So put this hair in a bun or a ponytail and tell me I'm not Black, because the police sure the hell said Black. Even when I try to tell them I'm mixed, they're like, well, you pick one. And I told them I'm white. It ended up in jail. So when I got out of jail, though, they had put Black female on my paperwork, though, so I know what I am. You know what I mean? My dad told me that. He said, you can be mixed all you want to, but the day you get pulled over is the day you learn what you are in this country. And that's exactly what it was. I learned quickly, like all that stuff that you think mattered about being mixed don't matter to white people or to police. They see Black, period, point blank. If you're not white, you're colored. And that's how it's always been in this country. And people on the color spectrum have got lost Oh, well, I'm Mexican. Well, I'm this. Well, I'm this. I'm Filipino. I'm this. You know, you're not white, though. You're colored. And you would have been in the colored line and not the white line of privilege and faster movements and get your food on time and whatever else the white line. You know what I mean? God,
Well, a
but
couple
like,
of questions. Couple of questions.
yeah.
So, what I want to know, well, not what I want to know, what I want you to share, because, like I said, we've known each other for a very long time. Okay. And when I was a teenager, you know, I remember your parents were very active in the community and with other kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are other children that talk about your parents as if they were a part of your family, because that's how your parents made people feel. You know what I'm saying? So let's discuss some of the stuff that they were doing in the community with the Scooby-Doo van. Everybody knew the green van. I used to call it the Scooby-Doo van.
Yeah.
So
This
let
is
us
the
know,
Scooby-Doo.
because they were very prominent figures in Linda Vista. So
Yes,
let us
ma'am.
give us a quick excerpt of what kind of community work you guys were out there doing at young ages.
All right. Well, shoot. All the prison time that my parents had taught them how to politic with the gangsters. My mom and pop, they were gangsters. Before they were peacemakers, they were four strike and two strike people. You know what I'm saying? Out there doing what they had to do to survive. And so they had all these friends in our hood. Linda Vista is set up. If you look it up, Linda Vista was one of the biggest military communities ever, and they moved in different people from different sections, different races, so that they can see how we grow up together. And we're one of the first experiments in America like that. So when they did that, all these people in our hood, we go up with black people, Mexican people, Asian people, and everybody got along. We had a gang called the Insane Family Gang. And when we go to jail, when people started going to jail, they were like, all right, so you got to pick. You got to be down with the blacks, the browns, Asians. Like, nobody hangs out in jail like how we hang out here in the streets where you can hang out with anybody. You have to pick a race to be down with. So Linda Vista heads were getting in jail and like, that's my homie over there. What? And they're like, no, your homie's Mexican. What we gonna do to, you know what I mean? You got to choose. And so that created some kind of funk, but at the same time, there's OGs in this, and my parents were some of the OGs that talked to the OGs and kept the little gangsters and pulled by the coattail, you know what I'm saying? So that they wouldn't be out of control. You know what I'm saying? So my parents would reach out to these people, throw football games, softball games, basketball games, things to unify instead of divide. They used to have dances, and they had the whole Kushinda. Kushinda is our organization, and it's a Kushinda bring everybody together twice a week sometimes, but definitely once a week we would get together, African dance and drum. We had the whole community at the center. Then they actually go to my mama's house afterward, and mama would cook for everybody. So it would be a barbecue going out in the front yard. She cooked for everybody, and she always was cooking for everybody because like that's what she liked to do, is make people happy through food and stuff. So she had that going on. Then she had her restaurant going on, and every Friday she would take all the leftovers that they had for the week because they were closed all weekend. She'd make all kinds of sandwiches, go around the hood, handing out sandwiches to the homeless. Every time we go to the liquor store, it'd be a crowd of people like, hey, Melinda, hey, Bush. And they take care of people, whatever they had. They're like, oh, this motherfucker's gonna ask for a pack of smokes, and they buy him a pack of smokes, even though they knew, you know what I mean, that they could have just gave him one cigarette, you know what I mean, but you're like, no, just give him a whole pack. They used to do all kinds of nice stuff for the community, like, you know what I mean, like there's a whole bunch of stuff. They were always there. People were always knocking at our door, even Asian people that like could barely speak English. They were like, hey, put there. Is your dad put there? Like it was a trip, like to see people just like from the whole hood, people that were Mexicans, Asians, whites, and my parents were the weed folks too. It's like I can't act like they weren't doing nothing, but they were doing something. But at the same time, weed is a peaceful situation. So all the people that came to get weed were all peaceful, cool ass people, and you find out smoking weed and having your parents sell weed in front of you, then you get to see a lot of shit, and you get to meet a lot of people. My mom had rich white friends that were coming, and she was taxing their asses, but they were still really cool. Like the mom had like, that's like, I guess you can look at it like a family business now. It's not illegal like that no more. So you can see how when you have a family that has a restaurant or something, you get familiar with the customers. And the customers got familiar with the children, and you meet the people that are really cool. Like all my mom's friends were really cool. Nobody was disrespectful. It wasn't a bad drug. They had people like tweakers and shit showing up at my house. Like, Aunt, can I help you? These are regular. These are just some regular pothead and regular Joes. You know what I'm saying? And it was a cool situation to grow
So
up.
with all that community going on, because you guys, like I said, were advocate members of the community. I mean, you guys were in the Linda Vista parades, and always you guys always had things going on in the community. Always respected that. So having said that, and then Pops, will whoop some ass. Okay. So we had structure and we had the community, and you also had snitches because y'all knew everybody. Okay, we put that over here.
Girl, I kissed a boy goodbye on the bus stop. I got home and got my ass whooped. Like, you want to kiss boys outside? I was like, dang, you travel fast.
Quick. So tell me some of the things that were troubling for you as a kid growing up in this type of environment, because to outsiders listening, that sounds pretty structured, pretty secure, even though you guys were selling weed.
Oh yeah, it was crazy because we would be like in the house having fun times, and all of a sudden, hey, come on, get shit. We might get raided. We have to leave the house, get to run to the mountains and shit, just because we had word that we were about to get raided. Like that was a trip. That was like one of the things that were scary as a child. Or like one time, my parents were arguing, and like. You know what I mean? Like somebody called the cops, and when they called the cops, we had the Mexicans coming through with a big deal, and my mom was like, "What the fuck?" So the police came at the same time. Homeboy had the big boxes and shit at the house, and it was a scary time. Dude. It was like, but at the same time, it was like it wasn't that scary. You know what I mean? It was scary, but it wasn't that scary because they didn't make it like scary for us. But I know as a grown up now, you know what I mean, how serious the raid is. Like when I was a kid, I was like, okay, well, we're gonna get raided. It was a game, you know what I mean? Like just get in the car, you know what I mean? And but yeah, that now they think about it like, damn, we're about to get raided. Like that's crazy.
So kind of take me through your mental frame as a kid. Were you like super confident? Were you low confident? Like where does your mind state as a child or
And
child to preteen?
a child to preteen, I was really, I don't know. I guess I was somewhere in between finding myself. So it wasn't like I was super confident, but I've always been outwardly super confident. Like you can tell me I'm not a confident. I like, cause that's a Leo's thing. You put forth your best. You know what I'm saying? So you look like you're not worried about nothing. You know what I mean? But I know before junior high, I was waiting for a period and titties. That's all I want. That's all I wanted in junior high, because I got treated like a little boy. Because my dad wanted a son, so he treated me like his son, all the way until I grew some tits. You know what I'm saying? Then it was like, oh no, I have a daughter. She needs to be watched. You know what I mean? Like, but other than that, that was like my aspiration as a sixth grader to junior high, because my boobs didn't come until the end of junior high. You know what I'm saying? But that was my mind frame when I was a kid. Like I didn't have no worries. I was a I guess an ADHD kid that they probably would call now, because I was really hyper, really active, really interactive in class. I was never like the quiet one or the A plus little quiet girl in class. I was always getting my name called. Sukari, shut your ass up. You know what I mean? I'm a talker. You know what I mean? I was,
So what
you know what
kind
I
of
mean?
trouble were you getting into, young lady?
I mean, shit. just the usual trouble, the you can't set the hell up trouble, making too much joy. And I'm funny, so if I say something, I'm making the class laugh. So I'm interrupting and taking time out, and it was just like, and she's funny, so it's stopping me from doing what I need to do and teach. So my parents were on me, and my teachers were on me, and then when I had my kid, it's funny because it's not funny, but it's trip because I'm in there talking to the principal. They're telling the same goddamn thing to me that they used to tell my parents about me to me, and I was like, oh, oh, this happens to be the parent of the goofy ass kid in the class.
So you just said that your father wanted a son and you're a girl. So
Yeah.
how do you think that affected you, if it affected you in any kind of way?
Well, when you, I tell you, like I told him when I had to come out, I said, well, when you walk like a boy, you're trained like a boy, you talk like a boy, you hang out with the boys, you're not allowed to wear girl clothes, you're not allowed to have boyfriends, you're not allowed to wear makeup. You're literally, you kind of start walking like the boy, and all of a sudden, you know what attracts boys? Girls. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, it was not all the way, you know what I mean? I wasn't thinking I was a boy. I never have been confused about being a girl, but I was definitely a big tomboy until like 11th grade. You know what I mean? I was like super tomboy, and started looking at girls kind of like, they're kind of cute because they're flirting with me. Like I'm like, oh, are they flirting with me or not? Like, am I tripping because I'm a Leo and I think everybody's flirting with me or not? Like, I'm like, what's the deal here? You know what I mean? So like, my dad wanted a son and raising me like I was his son. It strengthened me up though. Like, so it had its goods and it had its bads. It made me tough. I wasn't allowed to. You see how I have a deep voice? I have a feeling that when I used to I would get yelled at or something if it was too high or something. Because I don't. My mom didn't have a deep voice, so I don't understand where this comes from. Except I can't stand girls. All that shit gets on my nerves because when I was a kid, all that kiki and was about me. Like, oh, look at her little tomboy with the he. Like girls. I didn't get along with girls like that because I don't try to fake it for nobody. I wasn't trying to. Hey, what's wrong? What can I do to make you my friend? You know, I was like, whatever. This is me. I have 4 brothers. I have 4 older brothers that were like fuck them girls. You know what I mean? I'll teach you how to walk and talk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was a real tomboy. Like, it took a lot for me to put on some makeup and
So
I
what are
mean
you
change.
saying? You had issues fitting in with girls because you were a tomboy? You feel like they were judging you, or what was your issue with girls?
Yeah, because I played rough. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of boy cousins too. Is like I didn't play with my girl cousins as much as I played with the boy cousins, and all we would do is wrestle in the hallways and buck each other over and be in there with bruises and stuff. Like, and I like that fun. I was like, that's fun. You know, I don't like dolls. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was kind of hard to make friends with girls when I was little. Like, cause I let them bother me with their laughs. You know what I'm saying? Instead of being like, oh fuck y'all. You know what I mean? But and at the young age, girls didn't understand. We're like the world we live in right now, where they explain things to people and explain to our kids what's going on. That wasn't existent when I was a kid. If you're gay, you're a sinner. You know what I mean? Like in my family, my dad was like, "Why?" He's like, "Are you a bitch faggot?" And I was like, "No, no, of course not. Whatever that is." You know what I mean? I don't want to be that. So it was different. It was different growing up in the '80s as a tomboy, trying to figure out your feelings and stuff like that. Like not knowing what to say. Like as far as why you dress like that? Why you talk like that? Why you walk like that? I was like, I don't know. This is just me. You know what I mean?
So
I,
at what
I
point did you like, like wake up and like, oh, like she's cute? And I mean not like, oh, that's my girl and she's cute, but like, oh, she's cute. Arr.
was like 7. I was like 7 years old. I like my babysitter. I thought my babysitter, her name was Paula. And I thought she was dope. I was like, she's bad. And I told my brother, like the way I would point out girls is I tell my brother, like, you should hook up with her. She's pretty. You know what I mean? I would just say shit like that. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, you think so? I'm like, yeah, she's pretty, you know? It's just, they didn't catch on. Nobody caught on or whatever. But that was just my way of saying, like, I think she's pretty. She's kind of hot. You know what I mean? Like, and then it took me till about, I was in ninth or 10th grade. I think maybe 10th grade where I came out to one person and told them I wanted to kiss them. It was a girl. And it was just like, I was like, I don't know. I just kind of want to. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think about any other chicks. I just thought about you. I wanted to kiss you. Boom. You know what I mean? You and Janet Jackson. So it was just like weird. It was just finding myself. That's high school. That was just combing through all my thoughts. You know what I mean? I had all kinds of pressure from my pops, of course. My dad was anti-gay, like a mofo. My mom, she wasn't allowed to be supportive of gay. She was like, whatever your dad says, you know what I'm saying? You got to talk to your dad about that. I don't understand what you're talking about, you know? So even though it took a while for me to come out comfortably, I was like, you know what? I like girls and I like guys, so it's like whatever. You know what I mean? I know what I am, and a lot of people don't know what they are. They never, you know what I mean, ever tried to do anything else but what they've been doing. You know what I mean? So it's like I know from doing both. You know what I mean, in my life and having fun with both that I like both. You know what I mean? And whatever, I'm very fluid, I guess, and whoever I end up with is who I end up with. And I don't think God has any kind of attitude with me about my decision. Like I used to trip about being a minister under the condition that I am bisexual and proud of it. And oh, how dare me be a minister? Like God doesn't like that. Well, how, how, how you know what God likes? You know what I'm saying? Because this book said this. But that doesn't mean that it takes away from who I am as a human being and what I do as a person and the work that I do for God and the way I feel about God is super appreciative. You know what I mean? So it's like I know He ain't gonna send me to hell for who I choose to love because I won't. I don't chase either or. You know what I mean? I don't. Men or women, it's not a lustful thing for me. It's not. I don't get with somebody because they turn me on the coochie. It's about the mental. You know what I'm saying? The mental, the heart, that kind of person they are. All that drives me to like somebody, but not what sexy are. You know what I mean? That 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 that's closed out for me. I don't care what sex you are. I care how you make me feel. You know what I'm saying? So it took me a while to get that part down. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's who I've grown to be, and it seems like I've been shaped and molded to be this person. So you can't act like this is all just some big choice I made to say, oh fuck it, I'm gay. You know what I mean? This is
So
something I
when
had
you
to.
came out, because you say you came out in your sophomore year, was that like coming out to your friends or just coming out to your parents or you just told somebody? What do you mean by coming out?
Coming out, well, I had somebody pushing me out the closet. So it was like for a minute I had to lie to my parents. It's because I didn't want to be my dad's word, bitch faggot. That was his word, and he had a lot of them when I really came out. So it was hard to come out to them more than it was to people my age. Like my friends at school, everybody knew. I didn't care. I was like, you know what I mean? Once my parents found out, because I told them, you know what I mean, I really could care less who else knew. I was like, well, as long as my parents still love me, I don't care what nobody else says. So all the haters at school, people looking at me like, "Ew, you're nasty." I had a girlfriend at school. I was one of the first people to have a girlfriend at school, to walk around with a girl on girl situation. The the security guards were like, "Oh, I'm proud of you. You know, thanks for being confident and all this." I'm like, what? They're like, it's like it's cool because like we didn't have all this stuff that these kids have to be comfortable about being who you are. You know what I mean? And black families and Mexican families, I think we're the worst as far as getting at our kids about being gay. I mean, they could be doing all kinds of crazy other shit in the world to deny their feelings and be a killer or be a murderer or be a rapist or somebody that goes and touches on little kids because they can't tell. You know what I mean? Like, there's all kinds of sick shit that somebody could be besides gay that you can share and shun them out. Because I see people that get kicked out their houses and all kinds of stuff, and I was just glad my parents were like, I don't approve. This isn't the lifestyle that I approve of you. I want you to have a man and a kid and all that stuff. And so I was like, all right, well, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I have a kid. I gave him a kid. I gave him a grandkid. They loved him. They like basically. I lived at the house with my parents when I had my baby, so it was like, hey, they helped out, but the baby daddy wasn't shit. So I was like, I'm not gonna stick around for 30 years with this guy or 18 years to get my ass beat. So I left him. I was like, all right, well, that's over with. Yeah, I mean,
So mentally being fluid, as we've now coined the term bisexual fluid, as a kid, that has to be a hard thing to live in, right? Because you know your dad is not with that shit. But as a person, as a human being, how are you feeling? Were you confused? Did you feel like something was wrong with you? Like what was that mental journey?
yeah, when I first started feeling them feelings, like looking at girls, like, oh, you know what I mean? That we hadn't even got to that part of the Bible yet. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't even know it was wrong. Like, yeah, my parents didn't teach me about faggot, gay stuff. They taught me faggots and but that was like the bad word that he used was just faggots. So I knew they didn't like gay people, and it was just a trip because when I started feeling that wasn't until high school where I could process my feelings. I was like, okay, so I speak to people because then even in high school, you know, I was preaching to everybody in high school too about being Muslim and Black Power, and we need to take responsibility before responsibility takes us and all this other stuff. But I was like, I didn't want anything to throw people off from what I was trying to say. Like, oh well, you say that, but you're gay. So how good is God if you're gay? Like, how good are you to God? You know what I mean? Like that kind of had me twisted in the head, and like even now, like people will be like, oh, you're gay. Oh, well, you know what I mean? Like, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, the Black Lives Matter people, they're cool, but I found out one of them's a lesbian. You know what I mean? Like, oh damn, like people get turned off quickly over bullshit. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't want nobody to be deterred from me being what I do behind doors, because I ain't even out there in the world. I see little kids. I ain't out there trying to destroy their whatever innocence and do nasty shit in front of kids. Period. And that's with the male or female, because you see some people be out there just tonguing each other down at the bus stops or outside in the mall and shit. You're like, damn, that's nasty. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what you are. You're about to grab ass and do all kinds of stuff in public. I don't do that. So like, I feel like everything I do in my private time is my private time, and it shouldn't affect what I do when I'm out in public. You know what I'm saying? But some people are mini-minded. If you got this little small ass head and you can't open it up, hey, I can't do nothing for you no more. Like, I tried to convince people a long time ago, hey, you don't want to be convinced. I'm not about to sit here and argue and waste breath and time with people. You know what I mean? Like it took me a while to grow into this confidence, and me and God, we've had our relationship. I tried dudes. Yeah, I mean, he knows I tried. I tried. These motherfuckers is crazy. Like, not like that, like, but dude, I don't know if it's my mouth. I don't know what it is, but I get hit. I get hit quick. Like, and I'm like, okay, see, maybe I'm gonna go with a female, and if she want to hit me, we can square up. She ain't gonna kill me if she hits me. Like, a man might mess around and kill you if he hits you too hard, or he got game how he pushed the broad against the stove and killed her on accident. They get mad and don't know their strength. And I grew up in a violent household, watching my mom get her ass whipped, and I said I'll never be that. I'll never do that. Like, I love my dad to death. My dad's an amazing man, an amazing person, but when it came to their shit, that shit right there just turned me off from ever being stuck being somebody's punching bag or somebody's, you know what I mean, abuse situation. Like, nah. So I tried. I got to two relationships, long lasting. With my baby's dad was like 2 years. The next dude was like 4 years, and that motherfucker, he beat me, raped me, traumatized me. You know what I'm saying? Made me like, okay, I'm gonna take a pause. I'm gonna take a pause real quick, and I'll be back when I feel like I can trust that situation to be intimate or that close to somebody that's bigger than me, male, stronger than me, could possibly kill me. You know what I mean? Like, it is a lot of stuff
Yeah,
that
and
goes.
you know, everybody has their flaws. You know what I'm saying? And things happen. So with the violence that was going on in the household, how did that affect you and the way you felt about your parents and the way you viewed the outside world?
But the violence in the household, it was just like, it's just I don't know. It made me look at my dad different. My dad got mad. I had called the police on my dad one time and hung up the phone because I didn't know about, if you hang up, they'll still
They
come. You know what I'm
coming.
saying? Yeah. So like I got in trouble for that. My dad was like, "You little snitch, bitch." I was like, damn. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know they were coming. You know what I mean? I just wanted you to stop doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? But yeah, um, it kind of made me who I am today. My dad said that when he was passing away, he was like, I know why you do what you do. He said, because you scared because of the stuff me and your mom have been through. He said, but he said, I don't want you to feel no kind of way. He said, but I love you and I'm sorry that all this stuff had to happen, you know? And I was like, yeah, it's all good. But at the same time, I feel like as much as it had rocked my mind, it keeps me from being that dumb broad that stays and gets her ass whooped, that stays and is getting emotionally abused in any kind of way, abused in any kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have family members, I have friends, and they stay longer. They stay way longer, and they won't leave because they love, or they're there for the kids, or you know what I mean. All the stuff I heard my mama say, and to this day I'm like, nah, I don't care what they say. And like, there's nothing that can make me stay with somebody that's beat me. Like, and the dude that got me for 4 years, he only got me for 4 years because, like I said, my parents got 4 strikes. My dad had 4 strikes. Mama had 2, and he was like, "I'll tell on your parents. I'll tell you the whole weed operation. He's gonna snitch on me." So he was gonna
And
snitch on my
how old were
parents.
you when this was happening?
I was like 22, 22,
Okay.
25.
So let's
22.
rewind. So we're in high school, right? So I love this because in high school we like to experiment. You know what I'm saying? So what the hell were you experimenting with, Sukari?
What? In high
What were
school?
you experimenting with? Marijuana, alcohol?
I tried it all. So I was just saying, we're doing some weird shit though. Like, it's mostly happening with weed. Like when we heard the song "Sipping on Some Scissor," we didn't want to go sip syrup. We put syrup in our blunts and rolled it up with some Robitussin or NyQuil or whatever the hell that is. We had that in there with weed, and we had put some sage in our weed before. Um, some milks, not milk, maple syrup. We used to put maple syrup on our blunts. They would smoke faster. I mean, slower. Yeah, it wasn't. I had like Boone's Farms in high school. It was mostly like Boone's Farms. That's all the motherfuckers drinking. And oh wait, and Mad Dog 2020. I remember we sat in that circle. Heard that circle?
No.
Oh, get the circle then. I think you
No,
might have been
no,
past.
tell me that. I really don't remember. I'm not trying to withhold any kind of information. You know, I have
Okay,
no qualms
okay.
about anything I've done, honey. My life is an
The
open
night
book.
I think we were at your house.
Oh
I think we spent the night
shit.
at your house. You had the birthday party. I think it was a summer party or something, and I got to go. It was me, you, Tasha, and Nicole. And remember
Oh
Nicole
shit.
up in the bathroom that night? She's like dead in the bathroom.
I was
See, we were
fucked
just
up. I
smoking.
forgot all about that.
All we had was a Boone's Farm, a Black and Mild, a blunt, and some popcorn, and everybody had to pass it whatever you had at the same time. So somebody's eating popcorn, somebody's hitting a Black and Mild, somebody's hitting some weed, somebody drinks some alcohol.
I do remember that. We was at Tasha's house.
That's Tasha's house.
We was at Tasha's house.
Okay, and
Tasha,
then Nicole.
I need to get a contact to her. She was a bad influence on me. Me and her had some fun times, child. Okay.
Heck
yeah. Okay, so high school, we're smoking weed. You know, we've got our cocktails. What else is going on?
Oh, and I started hanging out with white girls. Remember, I started hanging out with Nicole and Stephanie. Then I started mushrooms. I tried some mushrooms with them. It was cool. It was cool. But then after we graduated from high school, them bitches fooled me, gave me some acid, and I was tripping balls for 2 days.
Okay, so let's rewind. Let's start with the mushrooms. So when you tried the mushrooms, what kind of trip was that?
It was a trip. It was like every time I tried anything, like mushrooms or acid or whatever else I tried, like ecstasy, whatever, I went somewhere spiritual. I had fun. Like I was in the middle of trees, just breathing in the trees. Like, oh, you feel so good. Like on the wind, you know. It was a trip.
The shrooms.
I was on the shrooms and everything else that I've ever taken. Like I always trip out on nature. Like that's my happy. You know what I mean? Like when I get high, that's my happy.
Yeah.
No, but I haven't got on anything besides weed in like hella years. Like
no, but I mean we're talking about high school. So so you're on the shrooms, you're in the trees, the air feels different. So then we try acid. What is that experience?
That experience was mostly I was trying to they had left me. My friends left me on the acid. That's why I was like, they gave me the acid and left me with this white boy. Now the white boy was, everybody scared of the white boy that I hung out with. All the white girls had told me stories about him, how he raped some girl in a park, how he's nuts, how he does all this crazy shit. So when I look up and they left, and I'm like, where the hell they go? You left me here with this motherfucker here. So I'm over here like, okay, sorry. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? I was like, I can either act like I'm a gangster right now and scare this white boy, or I can just have fun with him and make a friend and see what kind of motherfucker he is. So me and him, we went to the little the playground that was across the street, and I was so lit. The playground looked like this big flat piece of like a canvas. So I drew this big ass mushroom. In the middle of the mushroom was this lady with her boobs out, and they was dripping out. And like, it's weird. And at her vagina was a big weed leaf. It was dope. It was dope. I drew it, and I was like, that's pretty dope. He's like, God damn, you're dope. He's like, and then the mushrooms had the little parts in the mushroom moving, and he's like, oh, and you see that it's moving? And I was like, that's crazy. And so I was just trying to survive. When I was hanging out with him on the acid, I was like, how can I distract this white boy so he doesn't want to rape or kill me? You know what I mean? Let's have some fun. So I was like, let's walk around Linda Vista. So we walked around the whole Linda Vista. We were walking around over there by the hospital and coming back over the bridge and then getting on top of Kearney's roof. We're sitting on top of the roof at Kearney High looking down at the leaves and stuff. And I'm like, why am I still up? Why hasn't this drug worn off? Why aren't you ready to leave me alone? And so I took him to my auntie's house and we were kicking it. And then that's where I was like, all right, I'm getting a little sleepy here. I've been up all damn night. You know what I mean? And then this fool, he's like, all right, he I don't know if he pretended to go to sleep or I pretended I was asleep though on the couch and he was on the other couch. My auntie tried to make us a story up and she's like, oh yeah, she told my parents because I just got out the house. She's like, oh yeah, Sukari over here with her little white boyfriend hugged up on my couch. I was like, oh, don't lie. I was like, I never had a white boyfriend. Like, you know what I mean? That was one of the rules, no white boyfriends. So I was like, no, you know what I mean? I broke the rules, but I never broke that one. But I was like, Auntie, why are you lying on me? Telling my mom and pop I'm over here laid up with some white boy. It was crazy, but I survived.
Okay, so and then too, I just wanted to honor that too because you are a creative, like through and through. You are a real definition of a creator. I remember your poems from high school. I loved your poems. You can draw really well. I don't know, you're like a one-man show, all in one. You know what I'm saying? I've always loved that about you. Okay, so now, you know, we're moving through high school. So now we're approaching adulthood and we're dealing with boys. So let's talk about the experience with the boys.
It's fun. It's fun. Shoot, it's all the learning. It's sex for girls that we have to learn how to have fun. When these guys, they just stick it in and they come, oh my God, I love pussy. You know what I mean? It took me a minute to be like, I fuck around, fuck around. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just when you first start having sex, it's all about pleasing the boyfriend. Like when you're a kid, you don't know that you're supposed to get nothing out of it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know. So I'm giving it to my boyfriend and he's getting his and I ain't getting shit but ouched. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, this shit hurts. This shit hurts. And I told my friend, I was like, why do you like sex so much? This shit hurts. And she's like, you gotta do it more. You gotta do it more often. I'm like, well, look, my dad doesn't let me out the house like that. I was locked out, like locked up in the house. I couldn't really get out to go touch on boys and stuff. So by the time I was 18, it was like, oh, now I don't have to ask permission. I'm gonna go try some penis, and I'm gonna try it frequently so that I could get used to it. So I got a little boo thing and tried it, and it was cool. I still didn't come. I didn't come until I was 20 years old. You know what I mean?
Is that
like,
when you had your son?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
You opened that portal, girl.
Hey, I put it up and I was like, oh, this is nice. I was like, okay, this is what you bitches be going crazy about. Okay, I see. All right, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take a ride. And but it was just some fun shit. My baby's dad made me, you know what I mean, for the first time or whatever. And so I was like, okay, cool. And then I got pregnant. You know what I mean? I was like, God damn, man. I was like, okay, this has real consequences. You know what I mean?
Like, this shit is really real. This is happening.
Yeah. I was having fun. And I wasn't doing it every time without protection. You know what I mean? I just said, okay, I know when I got pregnant. I know when it was. It was Christmas because I gave away the Christmas coochie without no damn wrapper on it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, oh, this is for you. Happy Merry Christmas. I didn't buy you shit. So this is your this is your gift. So that was his present, and then he dropped the present in me. You know what I mean? And I wasn't expecting that at all, but like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You know, shit happens when you mix the sperm and eggs, you know, you get that party going.
So now your parents are grandparents, and so like let's walk through the journey. So you and your son's father did not stay together.
No, we tried. We tried for 2 years, and girl, I can't even disclose the bullshit that happened, just because my son he's in the next room.
I understand.
But, that fool was weird. It just got really weird on some shit, DL shit. I had a feeling that he was fucking this dude. And I just didn't have no time for that. I was like, no, I can't. Like he hit me. And the first time he hit me, that was the last time he hit me. And that was on top of the suspicions of this other motherfucking situation that I thought was happening. So it was like, you're not gonna cheat on me, beat on me, and be fucking, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I ain't got a problem with somebody is. I don't hold it against them, but I don't want dip and dot in me. You know what I mean? You in an asshole, then you come to me like, nah. No, I have an asshole as well. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do you have to go elsewhere? You know what I mean? But I'm just saying.
Facts.
Just saying. You know what I mean? If you wanted it, I mean, they have things I could have bought. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you wanted, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't going in after that. I was like, I can't deal. I'm moving back because we were in Milwaukee, so I moved back to San Diego because that's where he was living at. I lived out there for a couple months and came my ass back like, nope, nope. And then he was cheating on me with that motherfucker, and he had a bitch that he got pregnant. And I was like, okay, whatever's
Papa
clever,
was a
yeah.
Rolling Stone for real.
Yeah, he was doing the most. I was like, oh, I know you're doing this other situation because you can't get kids out of that other situation, but you can still be a dirty ass nigga like you are. You know what I mean? So I was like,
So
that's
was
why you
he
probably.
the first? Was that your first boyfriend that was physical with you?
Yeah. High school was kind of tore back because you remember when I was 15 in high school, my first love, the dude that I lost my virginity to, he got
He
killed.
passed away.
Yeah, so it's like in high school, I was more overcoming trauma. I didn't want to have another boyfriend. And then even when I had Remaine's fine ass was my boyfriend, girl, I messed that up because I was like, right about the time we were starting to really like each other, I was like, Lawrence's birthday was coming up, and that was the dude that had got shot and killed. So I'm over here like, I don't know. I was just like, I promised him all this stuff. I promised him I wasn't gonna love nobody else. I promised him I wasn't gonna do the nasty with nobody else. I mean, I promised him all these things as my first love and first everything that I didn't know how to let go. You know what I mean? It took me a long time, like 18 years. When I was 18, that's when I finally was like, my friend was like, you can't keep dragging that around. You can't, because I was like, that was my soulmate. I had a soulmate. He died. You know what I mean? She's like, well, that's sad. She's like, you can't go around thinking that. She's like, your soulmate died when you're 15. She's like, that was a lesson you had to learn. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, true. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I guess you're right. You know what I mean? But I remember for a long time, I was just looking for somebody that reminded me of the one that got killed. And I was like, I gotta get rid of this craziness in my head. You know what I mean? I gotta not be crazy. Don't be looking for an angel. Don't be looking for somebody that reminds you of him, that could be a return of him. I didn't know what the fuck was wrong with me when I was a kid, but that traumatized me a lot because I was like, I thought I had my forever already. You know what I mean? And he's a good dude, and we just started talking again. And then he got killed, and I was like, God damn. Like, that sucks. And that was the first time I had learned to speak up for myself. Because we were like, don't let him dog you. You better say something. So I tried to play hard to get. So he called me, and I was like, call me back. And never got that call back because he died the next day. And I was like, God. So that fucked me up on speaking up for myself because I was like, I don't want to speak up for myself and have somebody die in mid argument. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit that affected me in my life. Like, all right, so now I like to end arguments. I don't want to keep arguing. I want to end it as soon as possible. We don't need to hang up and say, fuck this, I'll talk to you tomorrow or another day. Let's talk now. Let's get it done. You know what I mean? And then there's like the saying I love you to people I love before I hang up, I love you. I'll tell you a million times I love you, maybe. You know what I mean? Just because you never know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I live. You know what I mean? Because of that situation.
And so when you came, when you came back to San Diego at this point, how old is your son?
Oh, well, came back from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Oh, he was still titty feeding. He had just got off the titty. He was 1 year old. I titty fed him till he was one, cause they're trying to be a good mom. That motherfucker was making my nipples bleed, and all of that stuff. I was dedicated. So he's about 1 year old.
Okay. And then so you got into another relationship after that?
Yeah, I got into a relationship like when I got back home. It took me about 1 year to start talking. Well, I was talking to one dude, this dude that he had liked me when I was pregnant. And he's like, fuck your baby daddy. Yeah? Like, because I used to go to the studio and be rapping. And I'd be in there pregnant, holding my belly in there, rapping and stuff. And he seen my baby's dad. and he knows my baby daddy ain't shit. And my baby dad would come in there with his little, cause he had okay. So basically, I was my baby daddy's side chick first, and so he, you know what I mean, I'm not innocent. I was a hoe. So basically, I was a little hoe. That was my homeboy. We were just doing the nasty. We were supposed to be just doing it, and that's why he was mad I got pregnant. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? But I was like, well, you were complaining about the other girl. Like, you know what I mean? So what? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know you were going to be wanting to fix your family all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Whatever's clever, but it was like he was trying to say I did it on purpose and all this other shit. Like I was like, nigga, no, nobody wants your broke ass, okay? nobody wants these problems, okay? So I didn't get pregnant on purpose, even though, you know what I mean, I kept it. I was like, I told you when we started doing the wrap off, I was like, hey, I don't do abortion. If you want to know before we step up to this level, I'm not. If something happens, it happens, and I'm gonna tell you it's God's plan. So, what you want to do? He's like, oh, I ain't tripping. It's whatever's God's plan. Carry his dick was hard, like whatever God's plan.
As long as he can get it in, honey. Mm-hmm.
I found out that he didn't even believe in God back when I got pregnant. Then he wanted to expose it, talking about, and he said F God. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you don't need to be around me forever after that. I don't need you to be anywhere in the picture. You can come around if you want to. I
So
don't
was
need
this
that.
guy his friend, or he was just a friend of yours that knew your baby daddy wasn't shit?
Oh, no, he's a friend of my brother's.
Oh,
That
okay.
see my baby daddy come in the studio and, like, put his hand on my head like a dog when they claim that's my dog and walk away. He's like, I seen that weird shit he just did. He's like, I don't care. He used to try to talk to me, and then after I had my baby, he used to try to talk to me, and we start talking. And he was just too real for me. He's a fucking tourist. He's serious. Like, he's too honest. Like, hey, look, I'm not ready to settle down. So we can talk, but don't just pop up at my house. Don't do all this. This is like, I'm not gonna be your boyfriend yet. Type. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? You know what I mean? But I liked him a lot, but he got shot and killed. He got killed in San Diego because he's from LA. He's a blood from LA, and I said I never fuck with a gangbanger ever again after the first one passed away. But this one, he was from LA. He's an Inglewood blood from LA, not wanting no problems. He had got out of the gangs. He is preaching on the microphone. Good. He's a good rapper. He was he's sexy as hell. My mom. This is the first one that my mom was ever like, he looks good. Okay, now that's a good looking movie. You know what I mean? He looked good. He was a gentleman. Everything was perfect about him. It just he got killed. And I told him before we started fucking around, I was like, I don't fuck with gangbangers. He's like, Bud, this is a long time ago. I was like, but you still say Bud. But when they killed him out here, they killed him because like Devin, shut your door. And so like he basically he was selling weed, and him and his homeboy had made a studio and all this, and people were jealous, so they shot him. And so
Oh,
it was
wow.
like it was
And
more
so
of a
this isn't the one you were with for the 4 years then?
nah, because I didn't get a chance to be with him. He
Right.
got killed the first year we were really gonna talk. And so after he died, um, like I was all fucking. He died, but after I had caught him with some chick at his house, though, so I was like, okay, whatever. But he had explained to me like, hey, that's my baby's mom. So if she comes over, that's why I told you can't just pop up. I was like, I was just coming to drop off a card. I didn't know I was gonna run into that. I didn't know I was gonna be some crazy looking bitch. Like I didn't know. I said, but that's good to know, even though I didn't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, so after that, I met this guy. He's down south, country boy. His mama was a preacher, and his dad was a retired, not retired. He was an active Navy man. They lived in Coronado, had all this nice stuff, had their shit together, and you know what I mean. And met me when I was out and about taking care of business. I didn't have no makeup. I had a infection going on in my eyes. So I couldn't wear no makeup. I look crazy. To me, I look crazy. And he was like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." I was like, "Oh, what? With no makeup?" Like, okay. So I gave him a chance, and that was a ride. Yeah, I'll never get on. If I would have known what was happening with that dude, I would have told him, "You're just a scrub. hollered at me on the best friend at the side of the best friend's ride.
Oh,
Leave me
shit.
alone. No, he was a scrub. He was on his friend's. He was actually on the side of his passenger side of his friend's car when he hollered at me. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll give him a chance since he's all on my jock without no makeup. You know what I mean? So I gave him a chance, and then he was so sweet, so perfectly, like wanted to buy me outfits that match his outfits, like buy me a cute couple shit. And I'm like, oh, you want to be a couple? He's like, this really cool down south from the south had a southern swang to him that these Cali boys didn't have, and was a gentleman. And then took me to meet his mama. His mama was like, oh, she's sweet. She's like, but she got to get rid of that jailhouse religion she got. The Muslim. My dad was a Muslim. She called it a jailhouse religion.
Girl, when did being a Muslim? Wait, what?
Girl, okay.
Say some outlandish shit. So I didn't know that. Muslims, the religion originated in jail. I ain't know that.
Okay, because the crack is okay. The white people gave us Christianity when they got here. We're gonna spread Christianity, and then when black people found out about Islam, it was through the NOI, the Nation of Islam. And what people need to know about the Nation of Islam, they're just like the Black Panthers redone again. You know what I mean? Revamped. They're not. When you go to the mosque and listen to them, they're not so much about what God do for you. It's what you gonna do for yourself, black person, because these white folks have got you fucked up this whole time. The white Jesus wall on the wall at your grandma's house is false. I mean, you guys got to get with the program. So the Nation of Islam is a mix of Muslims and Black Panthers, but the real Islam Muslims aren't racist at all. They let everybody up in their clique. You know what I mean? Like how Malcolm X was racist at first, and then we went to Mecca and seen white, brown, and everybody else praying next to each other and washing next to each other, and it changed his whole thing. So he said,
Yeah, but I mean that was a total level of ignorance, especially she's a preacher saying something like that. Like,
yeah,
that's
it was
jailhouse religion. What?
yeah, 'cause most of the brothers that were getting locked up for fighting in the revolution as Black Panthers got locked up in a prison. So you have all of our revolutionaries in prison fighting out about the Nation of Islam, and they
I
have
think
all this.
that's why that just irritates me just a tad. You know what I mean? Because
Oh yeah, he
those
pissed me
men
off.
were out there fighting for a cause. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, just to minimize it is that was very ignorant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, but my bad. I didn't mean to go off on the
No,
whole thing.
it fucking it hurt my feelings at first, but I was like, I said I get where. I mean, whenever somebody says a racial slur or something stupid, I try to understand where it came from. Like that's why I never called Asian people gooks, because it never made sense to me when people be like fucking gook. I'm like, what the fuck is gook? What the fuck does that mean? And they, I mean, people would explain it to me, but they were never explaining that. So, when she said jailhouse religion, I was like, oh, okay, because my dad, he got converted in jail. But it's like whatever. That's where our revolutionaries got put in boxes at. So if they're coming out Nation of Islam, oh well, you know what I mean. Whatever is better than being stuck on some shit and not opening your mind to the fact that white people shoved Christianity down your throat and gave you a white Jesus to idolize. And when
Right.
you say the son of God, how are you gonna say? You know, when you look at for anybody that says that that's my kid or my dad, you expect them to look alike. So when you saying that's the son of God, it's some white boy, you're making us feel like, well, that's the God, then he must be white. You know what I mean? So that's religion. Like I said, the gang banging
Yeah,
situation.
that's a whole trap in itself, religion and politics, girl.
Yeah,
But
so that's her
anyway,
calling Crip or blood, calling them a crab or a slob.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you meet the
So,
mom, and then what happens?
so I let her say her little say her prayer for me, the little save prayer. So I mean, because I believe in Christ. Because like I told you, I raised Christian, Catholic, Rasta, and Muslim. So it's like,
Yeah, you're a respecter of religions. That's cool.
yeah. So I was like, all right, if that makes you feel better about me and your son, whatever. Let's sit. We prayed, and you know what I mean. And then she's like, okay, well now you can be with my son. Then we prayed the Jesus prayer over you. You know what I mean? So I was with their son, and that motherfucker started. He said he wants us to move out to Arizona. Let's try something new because it's expensive as hell to live somewhere in California. Let's try Arizona first, stack up some dough, and come back home. I was like, that sounds good to me. And the first couple of weeks that we were out there in Arizona, this fool threw some rocks at me, got mad, and like threw a whole red handful of hard ass pebbles at me. And I was like, what the? I said, you throw rocks at me? Right? He's like, yeah, yeah. I was like, no. I said, don't throw shit at me. Don't do that. The next thing you know, this motherfucker was like, okay, I got away with throwing the rocks. She's still here. So that was me and giving him the okay to abuse me. Then he started slapping me. You know what I mean? And then he started punching me. And he punched me in my fucking eye. And I was like, you're out your mind. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. And then that's when he was like, I'll tell on your parents. I'll send both your parents to jail. Your mom got 2 strikes. Your dad got 4. And you know that means. And he was going to send my other family members that were involved to prison too. And for me, being like I told you, being told my whole life, don't you fucking be the reason we be in jail our whole lives. Don't you get caught out there doing nothing stupid. This whole time I'm looking out for police, undercover police. You know what I'm saying? Not the nigga that I'm sleeping with. All of a sudden he turned into what I've been scared of my whole life. And it was like I got tortured for 4 years. And it was crazy because I tell his daughters, he had 2 daughters, they're black and Filipino, they look like me. So everybody be calling them my kids. My kids. After 4 years, I call them my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, these are my daughters. You know what I'm saying? But I always, after they would see me get tossed around the house or tossed around the car or beat the fuck up, or even like this nigga threw alcohol in my fucking face, burned my eyes up with Hennessy. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I've never been through that shit. But every time I had something happen to me, I would tell his daughter, look, this isn't how I ever get treated. Like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your dad's crazy threats. You know what I mean? Like, but other than that, a woman should never stay with a man that calls him bitch and that calls him the names that you hear your dad call me, or putting your hands on me because you're not nobody's punching bag. You're just not what God made you for, is to be anybody's punching bag or you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Way to let out stress.
So
So
you're kind of reliving your childhood a little bit, right? Even though those weren't your biological children, you know what I'm saying? Those are still girls, and you were being abused in front of them, which is kind of the same thing that happened to you, right?
mm-hmm.
So why did the thought ever come to your mind to like tell your dad, to tell your family, you know what I'm saying, so they can deal with him? Like, yo, this is what this dude is doing, and this is what he's doing to me, and this is the threat that he's making, so he needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, well, at first it took me a long time because I have family. My gangster family's like, okay, Sukari, you called us to come over here and handle this. What do you want us to do? Because we'll kill this motherfucker. We're not gonna come over there. My brother's a Mexican. They're like, I'm short, I'm Mexican, and you got a 6'6", big, tall, strong black dude. They're like, I'm not trying to come fight anybody. If I come, I'm coming with my guns. I'm coming with my motherfucking pistol, my rifle, and everything. So if you want this, just know that he might die. And I was like, oh, no, never mind. I call that off. I don't want the father of these 2 little girls that I'm with, you know what I mean, being mom to. I don't want him to get blasted on. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to be the reason they didn't have their dad no more. You know what I mean? Like, get him killed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt bad. You know what I mean? So I was like, no, I don't want him dead. So I tried to figure it out. And I didn't tell my dad because my dad was already going through health issues. This is my dad when he was his health was declining. He went from a walker to a wheelchair, and
What was going
just
on with him?
he had his arthritis was it was eating at him. He has rheumatoid arthritis, so it was like his body was breaking down. He had to get fingers chopped off. All kinds of stuff was happening to my dad while this motherfucker was going through this shit going here. So it was like all fucked up. And I didn't want to stress my dad out. But at the end, after the 4 years, and he was doing this shit to me, and my dad was getting worse and worse. And it was like, your dad might be passing away type shit. And I'm going through it. And he wasn't being there for me like in a big way. It was just like, dude, I need somebody here for me. My dad's my everything, you know? But like, he was just like, he wasn't there. He was trying to add stress on top of stress with me, like talking about shit that didn't matter, like his own problems. And I was like, my dad's dying, fool, you know? So it's like, that's when I was like, you know what, Dad? I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to, I was like, I haven't been stupid and I've never turned my back on you. I said, I just didn't want you guys to go to jail. You know what I mean? And my dad, excuse me, compose. No, my dad was just like, yeah, we said, you know what? He said, I don't know why the fuck you didn't tell me this a long time ago. He said, you know what? He said, this motherfucker that's been threatening you, he said, he has to make it to trial in order to do anything to our family. He said, he said, that motherfucker wouldn't make it to trials too. He's like, so leave. You can leave and come home. So I left. And I didn't want, you know what I mean? I don't want that shit, you know what I mean? So I showed my dad, you know what I'm saying? At the end of it, and I came home and I was with my dad, and this nigga was still trying to hang on to me or whatever, still trying to stop by and everything. So I mean, I gave up on him though, you know what I mean? It took a while to to get him to shake him off completely. But my dad passing away and seeing how he
So
treated me.
why do you feel like it took you a while to shake him off, especially after you had the approval from Pops? You know what I'm saying?
Cause like when you tell somebody that's been with you for 4 years, it's over, I don't want to be with you no more, it's hard for them to understand sometimes. So they're still trying to pop up on your house, because I live at my parents' house, pop up, sit out there, wait for me to come outside, call my cell phone like I'm out here smoking one with me. Like that type of shit. Like that kind of, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I couldn't let him go. It was just like I couldn't get him to leave me alone. And it took him to almost kill me. Like that man chased me around the whole hood, almost killed me. He hit my car. When he hit my car, and then I got out of the car. I was like, you have to leave me the fuck alone, or every time I see you, I'm gonna call the cops. I have to be that person. If I have to use the police against you, that's scared, I don't give a fuck, because I'm not no snitch. Because I feel like females aren't snitches. If you have to call the cop, if you have to call the cops on somebody for beating your ass because you don't have no help, or you can't call help, or whatever reason you're getting bullied at home by your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever the hell, you have the right to call the police. You're not a snitch. You needed help. That motherfucker's a punk. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I told myself, I'll call the cops every time I see you pull up into my alley. You know what I mean? Because I moved, I had my own place. He was still trying to come see me at my place. And it was just like, I'll call the cops, period. You know what I mean? Like, they play these games. So it took that threat and the fact that I wouldn't go to court for him. He wanted me to go to court for him. And I was like, no, I'm not doing none of this shit. You got caught driving with he got caught driving with some other bitch in the car to try to get me to come testify to help him out. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not helping you. I'm not here for you at all no more, partner. You know what I mean? So it's like, it took a while to shake that shit, but I shook it. You know what I mean? And
So for those people that, are looking at women in abusive situations and are just like, yo, like that's dumb as hell. Why don't you just leave? Like, how are you just gonna let somebody abuse you like that? What do you say to that?
I was just saying, know the situation before you start throwing judgments at somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes these females be thinking, I'm stupid. I don't know why I'm doing this, but you know what I mean? They know that they're dumb. They know that they're weak. They know that all these things are happening to them that they don't deserve. But some people have different reasons why they can't leave. Like some have given up their financial Like some broads stay at home all day, not making no money, not their choice, their man, letting their man be a man, and while they take care of kids at home, and so they don't have no means, they don't have nowhere to run to. Like right now, if I were to start getting beat, I don't know what I would run to. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, I don't have our mom and dad's house no more, so I don't know who would take me in. So it's like you have a lot of different situations that could stop somebody, but there is a lot of help available too. So if you talk to somebody like you care and not just trying to judge or just make yourself feel better for about what your little petty situation's going through, or at least at least I ain't getting my ass beat like you, bitch. Like, don't be that type of bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you care about your friend, if you really care, you ask them questions that will help them. You know what I mean? Like, help them answer. Sometimes asking the right question, when they're answering the question, they're like, oh, that's stupid. This doesn't make any sense. Or what? You know what I mean? You gotta fill out the situation, find out what their problem is, what their story is, why they haven't left yet, and then just show them different ways to help out. There's some homes for people that don't have a mom and dad to run to. There's shelters. I mean, you gotta swallow your pride sometimes. I'd rather swallow my pride and go stay at a shelter than have to deal with swallowing my pride and getting my ass beat. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Okay, so then, so now, what's going on with your mom at this point?
well, my mom, she's a rock. You know what I mean? She was talking to me the whole time. You know what I mean? But she knows she's the reason. Like I told her, I said, you gave us a bad example, Mom. I said, I ain't knocking you. I said, I think you're a great mom. You did what you had to do for your kids. You sacrificed your life and your happiness for your kids. But at the same time, me and Kufai used to be in the room crying, like going crazy. Like I took advice. I have to be the strong big sister. Like it's okay. Don't cry. Don't cry. He ain't gonna do nothing. He ain't gonna do nothing. My dad would throw shit. You know what I mean? It sounded like a lot of shit going on, but there's nothing going on. You know what I mean? And like I was like, I mean, we be in the room like, Mom, just stop. You know how niggas be trying to be like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. You know what I mean? I'm like, Mom, just leave him alone. Stop following him around the house. He's trying to leave. Let him leave. You know what I mean? Like, these are little things that I'm in the house. Like, okay, I'm just soaking it up. But I told her, I said, I don't want to be like you when I grow up, Mom. I said, I understand you went through a lot of shit for us. I said, but I feel bad for that. I feel bad for being born and making you go through all the shit you're going through. Because my dad would threaten her. He'd be like, well, as long as you take care of Sue, as long as nothing happens to Sue, I don't give a fuck. And she like, what the fuck? She was like, I don't give a fuck as long as my daughter's okay. And like, I used to be like, see, I don't like being in the middle of y'all shit. Cause I wanted my mom to be happy. I tried to hook her up with my homeboy's dad and some other shit. Like, you should hit her. You know what I mean? Cause you was always getting accused of being with somebody else anyway. You know what I mean? So like, I just tell my mom, I said, you know, like I just wanted to see you, you know what I mean, happy my whole life. You know what I mean? Like, and she was happy. Like, it's not like my dad kept her miserable. Like they were happy together. You know what I'm saying? They had their times. They were just gangsters that had stopped being gangsters and started getting old together. And it was like they're tripping out like, oh God. now we have to calm down. How much do we really have in common? Like if we ain't running these streets, we're revolutionaries. So that's how they got their shit back together. They would unite in the revolution and rejoice in the revolution, doing something that wasn't gangster like their old time, but what they were doing back then. You know, we're fighting for the people. So I told my mom I love her to death, and nothing. It ain't her fault. You know what I mean? You can't blame your mom. Like,
No,
you know,
and then we have to too realize, and I'm not making any justifications for any violence at all. I'm not doing that. But what I am wanting to put out there is that we are products of our environment, and in their generation, you know, especially I'm from Chicago, love, and in that generation, no lie, it was a lot of abuse going on. And you know, and especially in her mother's generation, you know what I'm saying? Like it was nothing like people, it was almost a normalcy. Like if a woman went to her girlfriend's house and was like, oh, my husband just smacked the shit out of me, can I have some ice? You know what I'm saying? It was, that was all that was said. You would comfort your girlfriend, y'all wouldn't talk about it again, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's mouth was shut, and that was, you know, that was the normalcy, you know, back in that era. So at this point, we're back home now with the family. Pops is not doing well at all. So like walk me through that kind of journey. What's going on with you? How are you? Are you able to even start the process of healing? Um, what's going on with you at this point?
Well, like I don't know, it's like I was an alcoholic. You know what I mean? When I was with this nigga, he was alcoholic. So when he got up, immediately start drinking, I get up and say, okay, well, this is what type of party we're having today. It's time to drink. Because there's no way in hell I was going to go through that house with his attitude and his drunk ass. I could not do it sober, period. I had to get drunk too, like, ah, ha, ha, shut your ass. You know what I mean? Like, so, and having my dad, like, fading away the way he was, I stayed away. I stayed away because I'm a crybaby. You know what I mean? I'm a big crybaby. I see my dad, it's instant tears. And you see how hard it is for me to stop crying. Once I start crying, it's over with. It's like, okay, now I'm gonna be crying for a second. You gotta give me a minute. And so it was just hard. And I was getting cussed out by my dad because he was mad I was drunk. You know what I mean? I came home and my sister, she had replaced like she was staying at the house and she had her kid. She just had a kid with her baby daddy, and me and her baby daddy didn't get along. You know what I mean? So it was just like I was arguing with my sister in front of the house, and because her baby daddy he was a lying ass. He was a lying ass. Like he said that I had started some shit when I seen him on the corner. And I was like, I didn't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, and so I was like, you know what? And then it got crazy in front of my aunt, and my cousin came outside trying to push on me, and I pushed her back. I was like, what the fuck you doing? This is my mom and dad's house. Ain't nobody gonna stop me from coming to see my fucking parents. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of drama, and I was alcoholic, so it was my fault. Like basically, you know what I mean? Um, I don't know. It was just hard to go over there and see my dad looking like that. So I'd have
Of
to be.
course. I mean, like we cannot make excuses for our survival mechanisms. Everybody has their own survival mechanisms. You know what I'm saying? And so you're in an abusive relationship. Can't do
Yeah.
that shit in your clear mind, you know, and then so now you got the little family drama with sis, and then dad has got this going on, you know. So yeah, you're in survival mode, you know what I'm saying, trying to just cope with your trauma.
Yeah.
So
I was losing. I lost all kinds of weight. I got down to a size 7. I was so stressed the fuck out. Nobody knew why. Although they act like they didn't know why. My dad was fucking dying, and I didn't know how to say that. I didn't know how to say he was dying. Like, I was like, my dad's really sick, and I'm gonna pray for him, and we're gonna keep praying, and he's gonna get better. You know, and it's all it takes is faith, and all, you know what I mean. So I was like, well, I'm gonna have all the faith. I'm gonna stay away because when I see him, it breaks my faith. So I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay praying. And when I finally had got into the house and moved into the house, my mom was like, your dad's been calling for you a lot. He calls your name out. He was like, Sue, Sue. He's like, he wants you here. He needs you here. And I was like, well, I'm here. You know, and she's like, and now you have to let him go. And I was like, what? What? She's like, you have to let him go. And I was like, what do you mean let him go? I'm not letting my dad go, yo. I'm sorry, I can't do that. She's like, well, your dad, he's dying soon. It's not gonna be no miracle. He's dying. So you just have to face that shit. And I was like, my dad got on everybody's nerves because he's so demanding. You know what I mean? And he didn't like having to depend on people. So he was getting on their nerves. I was like, you're just Dad just gets on y'all nerves, so y'all want him to go. Tell me to let him go so he can go. And they're like, no, it's not that, Sukari. They're like, we don't want your dad to die, but that's what's happening, and you need to get that shit through your head. And it took me until he died to get through my head. But it was just like the day that they are like, you gotta let your dad go or whatever. And when I thought about it, and I went and told my dad, I said, you know, Dad, I said, Mom said I gotta let you go. You know, it's like whatever that means. I said, I don't want to let you go. I said, but if you have to go, I won't be mad. You know. And he died that night. So I had to let him go. But he died the night I let him go. And shit fucked me.
He was waiting for you. That's so beautiful, Sukari.
I didn't want to.
I know, baby.
That shit fucked me up. That shit really fucked me up for a while. Look, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was fucked up. I couldn't stop crying. That was my first parent I lost, and I didn't know how to take that shit. No, I was only 25 years old. Everything was brand new, and it just like it hurt so bad. It hurt like the worst feeling ever. You know, just to be like, you have to let him go, and I'm like, whatever, you guys are tripping. But he died. Like that shit tripped me out. And I was like, well, you know, I still hurt. You know what I mean? That's my dad.
Of course. So, so after he passes away, were you still dealing with the issue of alcoholism?
Yeah. And it didn't get no better. You know what I mean? Like he passed away, and I turned all the way the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like all the way the fuck up, doing everything he told me not to do. Like I was 25 years old. I tried coke for the first time. I was coked the fuck out of my head. Like I didn't know what to do with life. You know what I mean? Like I was just having fun, partying and bullshitting. But when I didn't have drugs and I didn't have alcohol, I was crying. You know what I'm saying? And it was hard to go to sleep. You know what I mean? It was hard to do. Everything was hard. Like, cause I was daddy's little girl. You know what I'm saying? My mom and my sister, they're their clique, and me and my dad were our clique. You know what I'm saying? So I just felt like I lost my teammate. You know what I'm saying? So
And
my
then,
alcohol.
so did you stay at the house or did you move out? Did you stay with your mom?
I was living with my mom and pops when my dad passed away in February, and then in around July or sometime that same year, I had to get my own place, cause I just needed my own place, because basically somebody came out, called my mom and told her I had a gay girl in the house, cause she was a stud. She was my homegirl. My mom had seen her before, but she went to Vegas, and she came back, and they're like, yeah, she had the gay girl in the house. Like I was like, I wasn't fucking her. That's my homegirl. We were smoking weed. You know what I mean? So my mom was like, ain't doing all that. Don't do all that shit in my house. She's like, you need your own place so you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. And I was like, all right. So I went and got my own place right there in Linda Vista. It was lit. You know what I mean? I had everybody coming through, but at the same time, it was like I was turned the fuck up, and it was like, yeah, I was just like, just in a daze. You know what I'm saying? In a floating, like in a floating, like, you know what I mean? And then like when I lost my job, I lost my mind, because they kept saying, well, they have, you know, I was working at Denny's. I started working at Denny's as a waitress, and I would go crazy, like break down in the back and be back there crying. Like Mother's Day, not Mother's Day, but Father's Day would be sad for me. Christmas, all the holidays where they bring their families in, and you hear, oh, hey dad, hey dad. I'm like, my dad, and I gotta go. So they had dealt with me for like a year and a half, and then on the second year, they said you have to work Christmas. if you don't work Christmas, you're fired. And I was like, well, I told you guys I can't. I don't want to be here on fucking holidays, and it's not because I want to party. It's because I get depressed, and I start crying, and I'm somebody's crying ass waitress. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be somebody's crying waitress or sad waitress. So that's the little shit I had to get over.
So when
You know
do
what I
you
mean?
feel like you started to come out of the haze a little bit? Where was that turning point?
When I got a girlfriend, my girlfriend that I had her, she she helped keep my mind off my dad. You know what I mean? Not my dad, but just like the losing part. You know what I mean? She just was like, she's like, don't trip. You know what I mean? I'll be here for you and all that good stuff. You know what I mean? Like, she was a really good girlfriend at the time. You know what I mean? My dad passed away 2008. Met her 2010, and we didn't break up till 2017. You know what I mean? Like, she was there for me, and you know what I mean? It's a cool, like a good friend would be. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I mean, she kept my mind off my dad. She kept, cause like, no, none of my friends like know, like all my friends are my friends. We party, they make me feel good, and I go home, and then I cry myself to sleep. So nobody's there for the sleep part. If we're fucking. I have some people that I was fucking around with, but not sleeping with, and letting them lay with me for the whole night. They would go home. So when somebody was finally with me for the whole night and experienced me waking up crying out of my dreams and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I'd have dreams of my dad all the time, like just like I can hear him and I'd hug him and all kinds of cool stuff. So she was there. She, you know what I mean, would wipe my tears and hug on me and be like, it's gonna be okay, you know. And my mom was there. Like when I break down at work, I'd be like, God damn, like an old song on the radio or something. Like, God, you know, my mom would be like, yeah, you and your dad just alike, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? My mom, she knew what to
She
say. My mom,
was a very strong little woman. She was. She
oh
was.
yeah, she was there for me when I get weak. Like I wasn't a cokehead because coke is expensive. You know what I mean? So I couldn't afford to be a real cokehead. I was just, you know, partying a couple times. Like when people would give it to me for free, I had to buy 1 sack and I was like, oh, this is $60. Oh no. Give me weed. Give me weed, I'll forget my problems easier. You know what I mean? So can you hear my kid back there?
You're fine.
Okay. He be on his thing. Yeah, so I mean like the alcoholism and all that stuff, you know what I mean? It was something that had to happen just because it taught me how to handle when my mom left. Cause my mom, she she had my back when my dad passed away. She's like, she was sad at the house. And I moved out of her house, and she was like, "Hey, my baby, my son." She's like, "Can you let him stay here during the weekends?" She's like, "Cause I just miss somebody in the house." She's like, "And that he reminds me of your dad." And I was like, "Yeah, he can stay there." So you know, she's taking him on the weekends, and then one day she's like, "Can I just keep him at my house Monday through Friday? You take him on the weekends?" I was like, "Damn, lady," but I'm all partied out, so I'm like, "Okay, whatever you want to do, lady. You want to take him there?" So she basically had him Monday through Sunday. You know what I mean? She bring him when she gets tired of him, like that was her mom. You know what I mean? Like, but I was like, that's my mom. I said, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? I want her to be happy. I don't want her to be depressed. I don't want her sitting at home thinking about my dad. My son makes her happy. You know what I mean? I don't mind sharing my son because we grew up. You know what I mean? Me and him grew up in my mama's house. You know what I'm saying? I had him in my so that's like his grandma, mama, grandma. You know what I mean? Because she's in the same house. You know what I mean? And if I'm getting in trouble, that's the boss right there. I'm getting in trouble by. So so I was like, all right, whatever. And then, you know what I mean? She just took over basically. And but when she passed away, I couldn't turn up.
And how
I mean,
many years later was that?
my pops passed away 2008 in January. My mom passed away 2012 in November. Yeah, because I remember everybody was like, 2012 is the end of the world. 2012 is the end of the world. And I remember saying it was the end of my goddamn world. You know what I mean? Because I lost my mom, and that was it. That was the final stroke. And I was like, so from here on, Sukari, you got two choices. You either stay fucking up and say fuck your child and fuck his future because you have something you're going through because your parents passed away, or you can step up and be the parent that both your parents want you to be for your kid. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna take that one. So I left all the drugs and all that shit behind, stayed sober, just for my kid because I didn't want to be fucked up like I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I can't show him a bad result, a bad example. There's enough bad examples out here in this world, so I have to try to show him a good, a good, a good person. You know what I mean? And how a good person that believes in God, and you know what I mean, would take care, handle the situation of losing both their parents. You know what I'm saying? You're fucking God. Oh no! See, that's embarrassing. Shut the door.
You're fine.
Shut the door. Yeah, I'm on live. Shut the door. Embarrassing me. Ass kid.
Okay, so 2012 is when you get cleaned up for the baby. And then I know, from afar because I was watching you on Facebook, that you were doing little activities still in the community. So what was going on after 2012?
Oh, well, when my mom was passing away, it was a different vibe just because how I did my dad with the ultimate faith, thinking that as long as I believe, I'll be the one to save you because my strength is strength. You know what I mean? Like, my faith is unknockable. I know you're going to be okay. And as long as if you don't ever feed into the no's, then you'll get yeses. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm not even going to entertain that. But with my mom, she was like, look, if in case anything happens to, you know what I mean? There was that kind of vibe. And so she told me she had dreamt of heaven. She said, I went to heaven. She's like, I seen the light. I seen your dad. I seen my mom and all this other stuff. And I was like, well, that's cool. That's good. You know what I mean? Because when my dad had passed away, it shook my faith. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I have all that faith. And I was serious about it. Like, I didn't let my faith falter or nothing. I kept it on. You know what I mean? This time I was more like, okay, God, let your will be done. Whatever it is that you want to happen is going to happen. So whatever it is, prepare me for it. Make me stronger, you know? So when my mom was passing, I had asked her, I said, hey, Mom, I said, I didn't get to ask Dad. I said, but I want you to tell me, what can I do? What do you want me to do for you? You know what I mean? Beyond, after you leave us, what do you want from your kids? What do you want me to do? She said, you continue our legacy. She said, you continue our legacy as far as community service legacy. She's like, you stay with the community service. Stay doing for your community. She said, they need you. They need us. She's like, you just keep doing as much as you can do for your community. And to me, my community isn't just Linda Vista. Yeah, I mean, my community is the Black and colored people and the people of color out here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's my community. My audience, my target community would be the Black community and brown community, because these are the people I grew up with and the most that I know about. You know what I'm saying? So, like Linda Vista, they're gentrifying Linda Vista in such a way that a lot of people can't afford it out there. So a lot of the people that I would go to Linda Vista to talk to, they're not even there no more. So I put myself on a Facebook or a social media platform and start talking, hoping that people that need to hear will hear it. You know what I mean? Because that's what she told me she wanted me to do, was continue her legacy. So when she passed away, November 2012, that was the first year I started doing the toy giveaway that happens every Christmas. We give away toys. And what we do is we collect We collect used toys or new toys. And lately there been a lot more new toys, but the idea was to get any toys that are slightly used, because kids play with toys. That's my favorite toy for a week, and they throw it away, and it's in the corner, and they're on to the next toy. So it's like you have a nice toy that ain't got hardly no usage on it, that you go throw away. Nah, we shine them up, we clean everything off, put the anti-sanitizer in there or whatever, and then we give them to kids that wouldn't get nothing. And I was like, well, that's something we can do. And if we can do another something, you know what I mean? So right now we're working on Crescendo the Legacy, and we're working on every Sunday getting together and drumming and dancing and building this video that they can watch. It's a legacy. It shows Crescendo, how Crescendo was made, who made Crescendo, the dance steps, the drum steps, and the basic know-how. Well, what we do is different, because my dad, when he was mingling with the African brothers that just came here from Africa, and they're like, yeah, we'll show you how to drum and dance, brother. And then they're throwing extra shit in there, like the Africans don't do in Africa, but like what we do for theater. You know what I mean? So we didn't know that. So but I want to let everybody know that on the documentary, like this is what we did with Crescendo, is what we did as African Americans with African drum dance. You know what I mean? So it's not directly from Africa, but it's not just some hip hop shit that we made up. You know what I mean? This is it. It is dope.
It's a
I just
mix
want to
of
put
the
that,
cultures. It's a collaboration, definitely.
yeah, because if you ever been to one of the classes, I think you came to one of the dance classes
Yes, I
before.
did, girl. And yes, I did. I went to several classes. Actually, I loved it. And actually, one of the classes I went to, Vanessa Williams was there. Not, Vanessa Williams that was in, girl, how Stella got her groove back. That played Tay Diggs' mother. That Vanessa,
Oh, Phyllis Stickney.
huh?
Her name is Phyllis Stickney.
Oh, I thought her name was Vanessa.
Vanessa Williams is the
No, no,
Miss Universe.
I literally thought her name was also Vanessa. Damn. Well,
No,
girl.
that's Phyllis Stickney.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
Sydney, yeah, she was there teaching the class. And I remember this because we had one move where you got on the floor, you did this little pop thing. And I had on these lime green shorts and this lime green shirt. And I remember she looked at me and she was like, and then she smiled, and then she kept talking to the rest of the kids, and then she came over and she kind of like stood behind me, and I was like, "Oh, is my ass out?"
Yep, yeah, it be like that.
My booty was out, and at the time I was like 14, so like that wasn't even a thought on my freaking mind. But yes, I do remember those classes. We used to have such a good time.
Mm-hmm. And every class, we'd end it with the prayer, and we get in a circle, hold hands, put our foot in, and then we pray and include the ancestors and make sure to say Ashe. It was like an African spiritual prayer. You know what I mean? And people would come from like all the way up in Riverside. We had people that come from Riverside. Some people, this lady, she used to live like up in Vallejo or whatever. She come down. They said it was like church. It felt like church to them. Like you come in, you could feel the ancestors there in the building, which you watching over. You could feel the vibe.
You could feel the energy. You definitely
Yeah.
could. You could definitely feel the energy. It was fun. It was light. And I remember standing up and like we felt like we was getting it. Like it was such a great distraction,
Yeah.
It was a great distraction just from life, from school, from everything as teenagers that we were going through at the time. That's what I mean when I say your parents did a lot for the community that I'm not really sure you guys as a family register. You know what I'm saying? You guys, your parents were everybody's parents. Everybody thought Sue, you know what I'm saying? It's like, those are Sukari. Oh, here comes Pop. Pops is cool as hell. He was everybody's Pop. You know what I'm saying? Even though I used to have to listen to him. and then like read his lips. Sometimes I couldn't understand what the hell he was saying.
Hey, bro. Hey, bro. Yeah, Pops is a trip. Yeah, they like. I remember growing up, everybody had to share my parents with the whole hood. Hey, mom. I'm like, that's my mama. It's my mom. That's my dad. They're like, yeah, whatever. That's my pops. That's my mom's. I'm like, whatever. I mean, but yeah, they had to share with everybody because messed up as it is, my parents were one of the only people in the hood that was able to get off heroin. Like they had a strong heroin addiction, both of them, and they're leaders of the community too because they watched them fight the heroin battle and win and come out and not be on it. Like, I'm a heroin baby. I was born with jaundice and hepatitis. One of them hepatitis is that is dormant in my blood. It means it's not active, but it's there in the blood or whatever the hell. So I can't give blood because of it. But I was a heroin baby. They were out there they turned their life around. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like a lot of people, while their parents were still on, they were like, go talk to Bushy, go talk to Melinda. They knew my parents had the right mind to take their kids under their wings. My mom and dad took so many people's children under their wings, legal and just saying that they could stay there. You know what I mean? Because my mom, when she went to really adopt one of our children that we needed adopted, somebody in my family, they wouldn't let her because she had felonies, 30-year-old felonies. And she's like, what the hell? She's like, man, but I remember at the hospital, they would treat them like junkies because they had tracks on their arms. And they'd be like, that's why they wouldn't go to the hospital. They're like, I don't feel comfortable going to the hospital. They're like, every time we go, they treat us like we're just some junkies trying to get a fix or a shot. They're like, you know what I mean? But
like they're trying to find any means necessary to get high. Like, yeah.
well, some of them do. You know what I mean? But
No, I
they're
mean
too
true
old.
story, but like you said, like you shouldn't treat everybody like that. That's not right. And then like, say you have somebody that's on that journey, you could totally send them into relapse just with that type of judgment. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. But okay, so fast forward. So we're in the community, we're very active in the community after mom passes away. So now we're gonna fast forward to last year, okay? Because I remember I didn't know what was going on. I just knew you were in a hospital, and then Kufanya. I can't remember if she made a video or if it was just a post, but whatever she was saying, it was like, wait, hold the fuck on, some real shit is going on. I was like, let me reach out because what the hell is going on? So
Yeah.
take me through that journey.
Yeah, it's my birthday. It's just been my birthday, and since my birthday is July 30th, I party July and August because it's at the end of the month. So August 13th comes, and my homeboy hits me up. He's like, "Hey, come have a drink with me, or whatever." And I work at a insurance brokerage, so basically we can drink on the job. We have an alcohol on the job, so I didn't mind taking a shot before I go to work. You know what I mean? It might not be good now. I wouldn't choose to drink now, but yeah, but I was part time, so I was like, oh, I'll take a shot, and then you know what I mean, then I come back to work, whatever. So I go to visit him at his spot. You smoke a blunt, take a shot, and then I'm like, all right, well, we kicked it for a minute, and I was like, all right, I gotta go to work, and he's like, oh, just kick it with me. He's like, you know what I mean, whatever, all day, whatever, and I was like, no, I have to go to work, and so I left, and he's all upset, but I was like, I gotta go. I get to work. My head's hurting a little bit. And I'm like, what the hell's wrong? I down a 16-ounce glass of Red Bull. And I took a no-dose. Like, because that's my morning routine is a little Red Bull and a little no-dose. You know what I'm saying? Then like,
I know. What is
either
a no-do?
a no-dose is like a caffeine pill. Because I don't like coffee. Like, since I don't like coffee, I either drink a Red Bull or I'll take a no-dose. Because a no-dose, I like taking the caffeine pills because they don't give you the breakouts. Because I'm drinking caffeine, the Red Bull is too much sugar. Yeah, all I'm drinking it for is for the caffeine. So like, let me just get a little caffeine. So I had already took a no dose, and I'm feeling all like weird when I'm going to work. And I'm like, all right, let me stop and get a Red Bull real quick on top of my no dose. I take a Red Bull. I drink the whole fucking 16-ounce Red Bull. I get to work. I'm in there tripping. I'm like, oh man, what the fuck is wrong with my head? And like, it feels weird. It's not like a headache that I've had before. It's a different kind of feeling. And I started thinking about it. I was like, you remember Robbie Mahone?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember we had a brain aneurysm back in the day?
No, I never knew that.
Well, he had
We're
an
talking about
aneurysm.
Victor's brother, right? Victor?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He had aneurysm too when we were kids. And I remember I was just like, damn, that's crazy. How do you know? How did he's like, it's a weird headache. It's a headache I never felt before, but it hurt. And so when I was like, I've never felt this before, it just, that conversation what I had with him popped up in my head. And I was like, I wonder if I'm having an aneurysm right now. I'm tripping right now. So I'm tripping. I don't know what's wrong with me. I done drunk a big ass Red Bull, took my no-dos, and now I'm feeling like shit. And this is my daily routine, so I'm not thinking nothing of it. I call well, my boss gets in the building. Now when my boss gets in the building, I get more nervous because he's here now. I'm trying to get my mind right. Like I can't tell him I just had a drink this morning and shit. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to get my mind right, and I throw up. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why did I throw up? I didn't even drink but one fucking shot. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay. Then my headache just started getting worse, and I started getting hot. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so he was like, are you okay? I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. He said, just go in the office, turn the lights off, and lay down for a minute and see if that makes you feel better. So I went in the office, I turned the lights off, and I just threw up again. And I was like, I'm calling the fucking police. So I called 911. I was like, I think I'm having an aneurysm. Somebody please come get me. I'm over here throwing up. I'm bent over in the chair. All of a sudden, I hear, the ambulance is here. The ambulance is here. And my boss comes in. He's like, you call the ambulance? And I was like, I said, I don't know. I think I'm having an aneurysm. I said, I need you guys to put my purse in my trunk. I'm going to the hospital. I'm texting my homegirl. I'm like, hey, I don't feel good. I'm feeling going to the hospital. I went in the ambulance or whatever. And I'm telling him, I'm like, and I think I have an aneurysm, and I don't remember anything after that except waking up in the hospital that night. I passed out right there in the fucking ambulance, and they carried me to the hospital. I woke up, and they're like, "You died." They're like, "Girl, your heartbeat was 200 over 200 something." They're like, somebody put you did crystal meth." And I was like, "What?" They're like, you have crystal meth in your system. They didn't tell me that until I was leaving, but that was the main cause. Because I had to go through rehab. When I woke up, my whole right hand side of my body had died, melted. My eyes, I guess, were looking two different ways. My whole face was sagged down. My arm, I couldn't move my arms, couldn't move my legs. Like everything was fucked up on my right hand side down. And I'm still working on getting it back. But like, I went through all the rehab, trying to get everything together. I had to learn how to talk again because when I woke up, I didn't know I couldn't talk. I'm over here, like I could understand what the fuck I'm saying, but everybody else is like looking at me like, "Are you okay? Are you okay, Sukari? What's up? What are you trying to say?" And I'm like, never mind, fuck it." You know what I mean? And it was just like for a few days I couldn't talk, couldn't walk. It was just like it was a crazy situation. And then when I was leaving, after I got my rehab and I started feeling better, when I was leaving, the homies we were in the hospital having a conversation about me getting out, and I'm all happy. I'm like, hell yeah, I can't wait to smoke a blunt. You know what I mean? I've been in this motherfucker for a whole month, haven't smoked out one blunt, stressing out. They're like, oh, we got you when you get out. We got you. I'm like, cool. And then my nurse comes in after they leave. She's like, I couldn't help but to hear your conversation with your friends. She's like, and I'm just going to tell you now, for at least 6 months, you can't smoke anything. She said, you can't smoke a cigarette. She's like, you understand? She's like, your brain's growing back and your brain is healing right now. And they can't afford you putting smoke or anything on it You know what I mean? You can't drink, you can't have alcohol, you can't have nothing for 6 months. And I was like, what? And they're like, and no crystal meth. And I was like, I started laughing. I was like, and they're like, no, seriously, no crystal meth. And I was like, wait, I don't do crystal. And they said, well, that's what was in your system when you came. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, you had, that was the cause of yeah, basically your heart. You had an aneurysm and a stroke because your heart was beating way too fast, like for your body to comprehend. Because I'm like, after I did some crystal meth that I didn't know I did, because the motherfucker put it in my drink. He had dipped a little bit in my tequila shot, had me sitting there like, okay. So
does crystal meth come in? Okay, I'm totally ignorant to that.
I guess
does it come in liquid form?
If you shave it down to powder and throw it in a drink,
right.
So he is shaving it down, and they told me that he did that so that he could get me horny. I guess crystal meth makes people horny. But I was like, nigga, I wasn't horny. Like, I had to go to work. You know what I mean? So it was
this is a friend?
Yeah, well, my quote unquote friend. You know what I mean? The homie or whatever. Like, let's just say he was white. You know what I mean? and it's happened to a hell of black people. They be like, careful when you hang out with white people. What kind of shit they be doing to your drug? My dad used to be like, you're hanging out with people, make sure you watch them roll your blunt, make sure they don't put nothing in your joint. If you weren't there when it wasn't rolled, when it rolls up, you don't smoke it. You know what I mean? So I had all the rules to weed down, but none for alcohol. And so when I came and I had a drink ready for me right now, I thought he just poured my drink when I pulled up. So I wasn't thinking like that, but the drink wasn't hot. I mean, it was room temperature, so it was perfect to melt down some shit. So I didn't know. So I found that shit later, and it shook me up. I was like, okay, so not drinking with nobody like that no more, without pouring my drink, without watching them drink first, all this other shit. But anyway, 6 months I had to go without no smoking. You know what I mean? But it's a cool experience because I've been smoking weed since I was 7 years old and never had to take a break, period. Like, I've never been on parole or probation. I had nobody tell me you can't smoke weed. You know what I mean? So it was like, this is my first time. Even when I was pregnant, the Jamaican lady said she said, yeah, you can smoke weed. She had 10 kids. She was like, I smoke with all my kids. They're all healthy. She's like, just if you're high and she's like, if you get high when you're pregnant, she's like, make sure you eat when you get hungry. Drink when your mouth gets dry. She's like, and then, they'll take care of your baby. She's like, but other than that, nothing's wrong with it. So I didn't have to quit when I was pregnant, and so, but I did quit for the last 3 months because of what happened. The homegirl and her baby had the homies come in there to visit, and they smelled like weed. And since the visitors smell like weed, they had to test the baby. I was like, well, I know my visitors gonna come here smelling like weed, so I quit for the last 3 months, so get out of our system or whatever. But that's the longest. So 6 months, I was like, oh my God. I had to learn how to cope. You know what I mean? Without no weed. Oh, it's hard. It's hard. You know what I mean? Like, in my hands, I'm still going through issues with my body's right hand side, numbing up and locking up sometimes. Like right now, like I try to write and shit hurts my hands. Like just trying to write. I can't give my signature anymore like I used to. Like a lot of shit's changed with this whole stroke situation, like as far as my mobility. And I had a stutter and a drool for a minute. I used to stutter and drool. Now the drool's gone. Thank God. And the stutter's gone unless I get nervous. Like I used to be a salesperson. That was my job, selling insurance, and I kicked ass. I was winning all kinds of prizes at the job. But now it's hard for me when people start giving me rebuttals. My rebuttals aren't as good as they used to be because, you know what I mean? I get stuck. You can't start stuttering when you're selling people because you know what I mean? Then you lose. You know what I'm saying? It's harder to sell because my confidence is gone. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of shit.
I think too that's a lot of that is psychological because you've been talking really good this whole interview.
Yeah, because this is shit I know about. Yeah, my life. You know what I mean? But like, you give me something, a job to sell somebody's company something, you know what I mean? Then I have to care about somebody else's company, think about all the shit that I've been taught about it, and then it starts fucking me up because I can't, you know what I mean, catch all the right words
But
I'm
that's
trying
a
to say.
good mantra for you to have, is that this is all mental and I got this. My brain is
Yeah.
not about to play tricks on me, okay?
That part. That part.
Okay, Sue, thank you for sharing that. That's like such a hard experience to go through, and you have made great progress. Like, it's only been a year, mommy. You are doing
Yeah.
great. My
Thank you.
fucking great grandma had a stroke, and she just couldn't get right after that. You know what I'm saying? She was in the bed for like 7 years, you know. So when she finally passed, it was just like, you know, like, okay, she can really chill the fuck out, you know what I'm saying, and live her best life versus being confined to a damn bed. And actually, it was longer than 7 years. I believe, I want to say it was like 9. But so yes, I'm very proud of your progress. So this brings us now to the current moment, because like I said, after 2012, you got yourself clean and you got back into that community life. You know what I'm saying about that community life. And so now that brings us to a very important cause that you have going on right now. So what I would like you to do is to explain your cause right now, and then the call to action.
Okay. Oh, the cause right now, we have a few things to promote the cause, but the cause right now is to get America to end slavery, because they freed the slaves off a plantation, made them feel real good because they've been trying to get off that plantation forever, but they never ended slavery, and that's something that we didn't know or we didn't acknowledge because we were just so happy to get off the plantation, but it's been 155 years since they made the 13th Amendment that made us feel like we got some freedom. And then we wonder why we're getting killed and beat and treated like animals and less than human beings in these streets by these police and by this country in general. And it's because we still have slavery. And if you still have slavery, you still have slaves. Now, who are these slaves that we still have? They're the descendants of the slaves that you had before, the black, the brown, and the red, and few white that are poor. You know what I'm saying? So this is like it's a big situation nobody understands. Well, they're not able. I haven't heard about it yet on TV, and I'm a Black Power watcher. You know what I'm saying? On TV, I stay trying to find where they're talking about us at. You know what I'm saying? Where they're talking about what we want, our discussions, our agenda, our, you know what I mean? Every 4 years they come asking us, trying to learn the nay and all that stuff, trying to get the black vote or the brown vote or the poor vote. You know what I'm saying? They just, you know what I mean? So I feel like now's the time to ask, since everybody's so bored at home with this coronavirus, and they're forced to see stuff that they were too busy to see before. Like, oh, I like to watch that, but I'm just so booked. I'm so busy. But now you're not busy. You ain't doing shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's now the time to educate yourself. Check out the 13th Amendment. If you're not a reader, you can watch the 13th Amendment documentary on Netflix. There's my son in his school, they're watching it right now. And all it is it breaks down the 13th Amendment, how it was a big joke, how it says in the 13th Amendment, we hereby abolish slavery except for the use of punishment for crime. And a lot of people were like, oh, whatever, they're criminals. But no, after they made this law, the 13th Amendment, that's when they had their first, well, after they let go of their first slave, that's when they built their first prison, first penitentiary, started making all these rules, because they were the same slave master rules, the same slave catchers rules and designs and outfits, that it's all been transformed into the police. And officers are overseers. The judge is the master, and us, we're the slaves. You know what I'm saying? The person on trial is a slave. You know what I mean? So that's why he has state property put on the back of these prison uniform. When you get locked up, either your San Diego state property or California state property, or whatever city you happen to be in, you're their state property. Your property. Can you
And we're
get
gonna
that?
say Chicago. We're gonna say Illinois. We're gonna throw that up in there because, with this police investment fund, this police brutality investment fund, Chicago, they're making a ton of money off of us right now. Just throw that shit out there. I'm sorry, but continue.
Yeah,
We're property of the states, and
yeah, and even if you ain't, you know what I mean? If you ever heard the strawman, when you look at your ID and every document that's written about you in capital letters, that's your property. Your property. You know what I mean? That's why you don't get the capital S, the lowercase, whatever, like a real name. It's property. That's what that is, and it's how much you're worth. You know what I mean? It's a trip. That's another story. That's another story. But the slavery is what we're trying to end this year. That's the cause, is to call out our country, our government, and our elected officials, and the people that are trying to get elected this year. We need them to create a 28th Amendment. The 28th Amendment would say the same thing the 13th Amendment says, but the exceptions will be taken out. So the 13th Amendment with their except for use of punishment, it would be taken out of there. So we'll just be saying, from here now, in all parts of America, slavery is here illegal, period. Illegal. Not any kind of without, or except, or no, just no more slavery, period. And we deserve that. We deserve to end this war that we've been having here for freedom since we got to this country as a people. I mean, since we've encountered the colonists, these white colonizers that came and took over, all it's been is their sin versus our trying to say, like they've been violent. I mean, we weren't expecting violence. You know what I'm saying? But they came with the guns and, killings and hanging us and dragging us and splitting us. Like they used to tie pregnant women on trees, tie their other hand, and split them straight in half in front of us. Like they've done some crazy, gruesome shit to us, to PTSD, our whole generations of us. You know what I'm saying? Well, right now it's time.
For those who are not super in tune with this 13th Amendment, or for those that are just smart asses, you know what I'm saying? Basically, what you're saying is that we're in a different form of slavery. Like we're not out there picking cotton, but the whole like jail system is a form of slavery, and citizens are kind of being bought up and raised to join this system, to join this form of slavery, is what you're saying. In
Yes,
short.
ma'am.
Okay.
In short.
So then for these naysayers, what do we do with the criminals? So like, what are you saying? People should be able to commit a crime and not go to jail? Like, what are you saying?
I'm not saying that we don't need police, because there's some pedophiles that need to be persecuted. There's some murderers that need to be prosecuted. There's rapists that need to be prosecuted, found out if they're guilty, or if they're guilty. Everybody should get a chance to be innocent before proven guilty. That's what they've denied us this whole time. We don't get to prove that we're innocent out here in these streets. They'll kill you before you even get in the damn car to go to jail to meet a judge. You know what I mean? Like, we need police, but I feel like we need police like anybody else on 911. Like, I feel like if we need you, we'll call you. Just like if we need an ambulance, we'll call you. If we need a fireman, we'll call you. We don't need you zooming, riding around in patrols and harassing our people just to find out that we can take them to jail or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, the the randomness and the statistics on how we're arrested versus them is not coincidence at all. Like 1 out of 3 black men are going to go to prison, 1 out of 6 Latinos are going to go to prison, and 1 out of 17 white boys. It's not because anybody's doing less shit than the other one, or you know what I mean. It's just that these are who they're harassing. If you need a cop to come to your house and help you, call 911. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they should wait to be called upon. That's how I feel about the police. I think they should eliminate the police that are out here harassing people that are walking and living their lives. Now, they could have how they do in Arizona. They have situations that keep people on their toes about their highway patrol. They have things on the freeway. They'll read your license plate and know if you have license or registration, insurance, all that stuff. And they'll mail you a ticket. Now, if they want to go there for that, if they swear, if they want to go there and do that, then that's fine. You know what I mean? But all this, oh, we stopped you because you fit the description. We fit the description. You know what I mean? We stay fitting the description of a criminal. You know what I mean? We were looking for a black guy. He is anywhere between 5 foot and 6'6". You're like, wait, that's not a good enough description for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to keep them at a as needed basis. I feel like we need you, we'll call you when we do. But other than that, I feel like the whole drive-by, bother people, harassing people, like, hey, I know him. Let's go check and see if he's a gang injunction. Yeah, let's get him in gang injunction. I mean, like, no, leave the neighborhoods alone. I feel like people that are police, that want to be police, they should police in the neighborhood they grew up in. So they know a little something about where they're going to be policing at. So they know about Crazy Kevin that likes to come outside his house butt naked and act a fool sometimes. They know how to handle that. They're not going to shoot Crazy Kevin because Crazy Kevin's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? And like certain shit you can know about a community could save a whole bunch of lives. You know what I'm saying? So familiarizing. If you're scared of black people, you shouldn't be a fucking cop driving in black neighborhoods. You should be somebody's Beverly Hills cop somewhere. You know what I mean? Like you have to be. I feel like police should be more open, like about what they're fucking scared of. Because if they're that scared that they keep having a fear for losing their life behind somebody having black skin, and all you keep seeing when you see black skin is a knife or a gun, all of a sudden our brown has turned silver. Like, nah, we have to do something. You know what I mean? We have to figure out what's wrong and fix it. You know what I mean? And I'm just saying, at the beginning, at the top of the list, is to just get rid of the slavery part. Because if you can get rid of that part, then it's like a snake. Once you cut the head off the snake, the snake actually dies. But if you keep stabbing the bottom of the snake or the middle part, the snake's gonna heal. It's gonna come back and get you harder than you did before because now it knows how you move. You know what I mean? But if you cut that head, you know what I mean? We've been here crying about the same shit since we got to America: freedom, justice, and equality. If we have never gotten real freedom, we'll never get real justice. You know what I'm saying? Like how the fuck, like, see this poster here? I drew that poster right there. It's just to show that that's how we look. We look like slaves in the field asking for, don't, I can't breathe. Black lives matter, but how the hell we matter if we're still prisoners? You know what I'm saying? Like we're still slaves, and anything
Exactly.
that a slave has ever asked for, they don't get. Respect, never got that. Anything that a slave has ever tried to get was nothing. We can't get shit. Slave lives don't matter. Slave lives don't matter. Black lives matter. So we got to get the human. Our life needs to be seen as humans and not slaves, not potential property. You know what I mean? Now the rest of the world doesn't know what's going on. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know that we're still slaves. And when you tell them stuff like, you know what I mean, you see how we get treated like slaves. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, because how the police rolled up on you in the middle of all your friends having a good time and stop your conversation. That's how they used to do on the plantation. Oh, y'all niggas want to talk? Y'all think y'all having a good time? What y'all talking about? which one of y'all niggas want to get their ass beat? You know what I mean? Like, and they'll beat one of you. You know what I mean? They just get to do whatever they want to a steal under this new fucking slavery title called crimes, criminals, and prisons and inmates and police. It's not
Right.
okay.
It's not
Yeah, so we
okay. And it's
gotta
like an
call.
epidemic right now. And like they're making more and more money off of this shit. So now tell
Yep.
me, what is it that you would like to get accomplished?
Okay, so on the 30th of this month, um, just calling out the whole country. At the 30th September at 2 o'clock, asking everybody to come out their houses, make some signs that say "End slavery," amend the 13th Amendment, anything to bring attention to the fact that we have slavery in our country and it's legal. End legal slavery, cancel legal slavery, whatever the slogan needs to be. I just don't want this to just keep getting brushed under. Like the subject of getting our freedom never gets talked about. The subject of ending slavery with a final strike to the amendment that fucked us up in the first place doesn't get talked about. Somebody got at me like I was some right wing, somebody trying to distract the people from what we need, and I'm like, no, you're some asshole on the other side that doesn't want me to tell the people that. And I don't care if there's something, because they're saying that once you let these people start touching our Constitution, it could be all bad. You know what I mean? If you give Trump the go for it, and we need you to fix this, and he's like, okay, cool, I'll fix that. But now since I've touched the Constitution, let's fix this part of the Constitution. I said, you know what? I let it go in 2016. I let all that shit, all them frustrations. I got death threats, and it scared me just to try to do it. But I'm not scared because we haven't asked. We haven't even got to that point yet. So whatever level 2 is, I mean, let's get to it. Let's get to it. We can't stay stuck in level 1, scared of level 2. We got it. We got to address it when it comes. Because if not, they're holding on to it. They know. They know. They're not stupid. They're the ones that wrote the shit. They know exactly what the fuck is happening, and they've been looking at us like they still don't get it. They
Right.
still don't understand. They think we need to. All we need to do is go ahead and arrest Breonna Taylor's killers. All we need to do is abolish the police, get rid of the police, so that we can put the army in here, so that we're being policed by the National Guard, so that we become prisoners instead of citizens. I don't want them to get rid of the police, because then they can show that we need some kind of control here. So we can't just say no prison period, no police period. So all these things that people are coming up with, these ideas, they're good ideas, but at the same time, we're still slaves. So it doesn't matter if a slave has a good idea or not. Sorry, you know what I mean? That I just don't never see us being taken serious until we get that slavery thing marked off of us in paper. Because we celebrate Juneteenth as if they gave us something for real, but all they did was give us level 2. And then when Kanye West says something like, "Oh, Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves; she just took them up north to a new master," and y'all get mad at Kanye. Y'all get mad, but if he would have, did he lie or no? Did he
No,
lie?
but okay, so pause right there because I love this. Okay, so I'm a Gemini. I love astrology, so we're gonna go there. I'm a Gemini. Tupac's a Gemini. Okay, Kanye is a Gemini. Donald Trump is a Gemini. Let me tell you why I love Donald Trump. Okay, and people are
Oh
like,
no.
I love Donald Trump because he's letting the whole world know that politics, all this shit is a fucking sham. Okay. He's letting y'all know how they really think. He's verbalizing it. He's telling y'all this shit ain't real. This is about business. Okay. This is big business. While y'all thinking that people are concerned about you and your lives and how you're living and how you're doing in society and all this shit, he letting y'all know, baby, I'm here to make $1. We're here to make some dollars. We're here to make some coins. Okay. He's keeping that shit real and he is verbalizing it. And like nobody, I don't really listen to what he says, but for some reason, when spirit brings certain shit to my attention, I pay attention. he's talking about if he could change certain things, it would be technologies. You know what I'm saying? Are y'all not listening to that? He's letting y'all know that there is way more advancements than we know about with technology that they're just not releasing. Donald Trump wants that shit released so that he can make what? More coins. Okay?
Yeah.
That's why I respect that, because it's real, and it's been what I've been saying since I knew how to comprehend, is that this shit is some bullshit. Politics and religion is a means of control. Okay.
Yeah.
Kanye, if we just set aside emotion, just detach from emotion just a little bit, okay? I'm not saying what he's saying is fact. I'm not saying he's a liar because I can't call it, because I haven't done my own research, right? So I can't throw that out there. But what I can throw out is the probability that that is a possibility. Why is that a possibility? It's a possibility because we have been taught about Harriet Tubman from the jump, baby. There are so many African American figures throughout history that have not been talked about, but she's been talked about very openly. Just like there's a lot of rumors that, in fact, Martin Luther King, was working for the people. You know what I'm saying? So my deal
People.
is I'm not saying that is true or false. I'm just saying that it is definitely a probability because she was presented to us so freely. That's all I'm saying. As the 37 years that I have been here on this planet, what I have come to realize is the common theme. The thing that they try to get us to stay away from is the very thing that we need to draw closer to. And the things that they try to draw us closer to are the very things that we need to stay the fuck away from. Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you saying that. That's my own little excerpt. So anyway, you left off on Kanye and Harriet Tubman. Go ahead.
Yeah, but well, basically, he has things that he's thought about and then minimized it in one sentence. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, Harriet Tubman took us from the South, the slavery down there. That's working for free. She brought us up to the North. We weren't just gonna sit there and chill. We had to work minimum wage. And that's another form of slavery, because when we got off the plantation, so when we got the plantation, they were like, all right, so y'all free from here. Go do what you do. Black folks like, okay, so what we gonna do? We ain't got no house. We ain't got nothing to eat. We don't have nothing. You just freed us. So if we get hungry, if we loiter, if you stay too long, there's so many fucked up quick laws to get you right back on the plantation. Or they say, look, if you don't want to get caught out here being criminals with the rest of these niggas, we can let you on our crop. We can get you on the field again. You'll just be called a sharecropper. And a sharecropper means, you know what I mean, you're getting paid. We're going to pay you now. So you guys aren't slaves anymore. We're going to give you a place to stay, food on your food on your fucking plate, and clothes on your back. And that today is what minimum wage is. It's the bare minimum. Food on your food on your fucking plate, clothes on your back, and a roof to live under. If you can make that much money. Because when they asked everybody to get that Obamacare cracking, and then they started shitting people hours because they didn't want them to be full-time employees, so they wouldn't have to give them any health care. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. So now you have people that are sharecropping and they ain't even making enough money to get a house. You understand? They don't have nowhere to sleep, but they're working every day. And that's what they've done to us. They've got us in this system right now. That's why this whole thing needs to be dismantled. But in order to dismantle, you've had to first admit. Like, I mean, to solve a problem, you have to admit that you have one. So we have to admit that you need slavery. We need to get rid of slavery, period, point blank. Doesn't have no place on this earth anymore. Like, come on now, this is 2020. We have other ways to have cheap labor. You know what I'm saying? China. That's like, no, but anyway, we have ways to get, you know what I mean, things done without slavery. They never let go of the slavery thing because we were so much of their economy. Just imagine somebody giving you free. Who the hell?
Press the button because it takes away your face when you do that.
I don't know who's somebody. Hello? I don't know what just happened. Somebody was calling this line right now. I was like, hold on, this is my business line. Nobody calls me. No, but basically, we've been getting rich off of free work for so long. All of a sudden, the workers are like 400 years later, like, hey, we don't want to do this anymore. We want our own shit. We want freedom. We want this. And they're like, oh, shit, here they go. They want to be human. Fuck. They don't want to be our slaves anymore and make us this money. What are we going to do that we don't lose our economy? And then that whole prison shit made perfect sense. So now we can blame you guys for getting in trouble. That's why you're up here at this plantation working for, you know what I mean? You're a slave again because you did something wrong and broke the law. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
I'm not okay. I don't want to take this because we can go on so many different tangents right now. But I would like to give a shout out to my previous guest on this show, Mr. Sam Polk. He does a show it's on iHeart, it's on iTunes, and it's on what is that other popular one, honey? Pandora. And he does it live on Facebook. But it's very interesting that we're talking about this particular topic because he's done shows, you know, where he's talked about sharecropping. But his show is called The Melanated Power Hour. And you should definitely go check it out. He drops a lot of knowledge, and he also has a lot of genealogists that come on the show and tell these magnificent stories, especially slavery that's still going on right now in a lot of the southern states, where I mean, like, these people are literally still on the land, taking care of the land. You know what I'm saying? And so this is a very big deal. So once again, can you please repeat your call to action? What is it that you want people to get out here and do?
Just come outside on the 30th of September at 2 p.m. Go to your nearest justice hall. If you have a justice hall in your city, go to that. If they don't have the Hall of Justice, there they have city halls that you can go to. You just want to go anywhere that you can get and the news cameras pointed at you, because we need the whole country to be calling out America on ending slavery. And like, there's so much slavery that we have to be specific, because there's child sex slavery that they have right now. There's sex trafficking slavery right now, but we're talking particularly about the OG slavery that has all that shit going on it, because they're beating our children, they're raping our children. They have these children in the ICE situation and getting molested and raped by ICE agents. You know what I'm saying? All of this comes under being a slave again. And the Mexicans, you guys are slaves with us too. The dark skinned, whoever the fuck you're from, you're with us too. You know what I'm saying? We're all in this together. Black Lives Matter, period. Black Lives Matter too. I have my movement. I sell these shirts, and it's just to kill the argument about what does and doesn't matter. So we got to come out and just focus on making signs that say "End Slavery 2020." 2020, end slavery, abolish slavery, end the 13th Amendment, amend the 13th Amendment, new amendment. We just have to make as many signs as we can that don't say Black Lives Matter, that don't say I can't breathe, that don't say anything that don't have to do with ending slavery. We need to have a whole bunch of signs just in display for the whole country to see that we still have slavery. I want everybody to be looking it up at the same damn time. I want everybody to be educating themselves so they can be just as mad as me and be ready to go out there and change this. You know what I'm saying? So that this one right here, it might not be a big one, it might be a medium one or a small one, but we're still going to try. So the 30th, and if the 30th doesn't work, on to plan the next one. So I'll be out here planning and trying to go forth. I know I'm not the only one in America that wants this slavery shit to end. I know I'm not the only one that has made any calling for it. I'm doing what I can. from where I'm at. You know what I mean? With whatever I have. And if you have something you want to bring to the table, bring it. I mean, I'm not trying to take my name and put it nowhere. I'm not over like the Sukari Amendment or the Sukari bill. I don't want nothing to do with it. I just want us as a people to get up together and say this is enough. We united, we can take a stand and end slavery 2020 point blank period. So I want everybody to go out on the 30th if you can, 2 o'clock in your town, your city hall, your hall of justice, your spot to go and put up a sign to be heard by the rest of the world so that we can get this in the agenda while they're asking us for our presidential election or whatever vote that they want for the little propositions and all that stuff that's important. They want our vote, and we're going to make them work for it, make them earn it. Not by learning to do the nay-nay, not by learning to act black, not by saying racist shit, not by trying to fool us, but by ending slavery 2020. Show us that Black Lives Matter and make us human and stop treating so that they can stop treating us like slaves out here. And we can just have a fresh start with a safer future and with a chance of growing up, you know what I mean, to learn from your mistakes and grow further than that. You know what I mean? Because if you look at all our Black heroes, they all had a prison picture first before they have these good big pictures of them over the crowd smiling and stuff. They had them where they arrested them because that's what
Thank
it
you.
takes. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That was beautifully stated. To sum it up, beautifully stated. So, Sakari, I would like to thank you so much from the
I
bottom
think
of my heart
thank
because
you.
you have a very powerful story. And what I want people to understand is that people who have had the most traumatic walks, you know what I'm saying, have the greatest purpose here. Through trauma, we learn compassion, we learn empathy, we stay non-judgmental, and what does that equal? That evolves into unconditional love. And we have too much love based on conditions here. As a mass of people, we definitely do. So I really, when I say I appreciate you, I really appreciate you for your walk here, for your purpose here, because it is grand. It is grand. You have always been a showman. You have always been a star, girl. Like I can't even remember air bands, you know what I'm saying? During
Oh
lunchtime,
yeah.
your ass out there, Missy Elliott it.
Oh no, fireman.
And that's carried on to your adulthood, just bringing people joy. You have always had the ability to bring people together, whether you were getting high or whether you were doing it for a cause, you know what I'm saying? However it goes, you've always been great at doing that. You have such a beautiful, creative spirit. And I just appreciate everything that you offer to the masses. You are a beautiful, beautiful spirit. I can't say that enough. And I appreciate you for coming on my freaking show. And we're going to promote the hell out of this. And I want to thank all of our viewers for being here with us today on another episode of You Thrive Every Day.